Let's get it.
580 Sports Talk coming to you on a Tuesday and coming to you live
on location on this Tuesday afternoon for the next 3 hours here on 580 WIDW FM 104.9 online at 580WIDW.com. On our video stream, we are on YouTube. Our channel is 580 Sports Talk. We are on Facebook at WIDW. We are on location this afternoon at the Burger Stand in Topeka. Brookwood Shopping
Center off of 29th Street East of
We'd love to see some of you out here, and the folks at the Burger Stand would love to see some of you out here. It's a little bit of a unique circumstance here at the Burger Stand because they are closing this location. One of their two locations, they are closing and ending their time in Topeka as of Saturday. The 26th of October would be their final day in operation here at the Brookwood Shopping Center. They want to celebrate all the great years they've had in Topeka. They've been here for 13 years. They want to celebrate the great time they've had here and see some of their great customers at least one more time before they close up shop here. And of course, they'd like to remind you that they are open
as well in Lawrence on Main
And
Street.
plenty of important notes and specials and whatnot here as well during these final days that the Burger Stand is open. Dan, happy hour from 3 until 6, 22-ounce beer for the same price as a pint. So you're getting a great deal there. Again, that's happy hour from 3 until 6. Additionally, even though closing up shop here at this location on Saturday, still doing Thursday night trivia this week. So if you're a trivia fan like myself, get out here to the Burger Stand Thursday night for trivia. Also, happy hour fries. They are free with your purchase of a burger and if you sit at the bar. So you got to sit at the bar, you got to buy a burger, boom, happy hour, free fries. And again, like you said, Dan, closing up on Saturday. So make sure you get here, take advantage of all of that coming up in the near future.
I have greatly enjoyed patronizing the Burger Stand, both in College Hill in its original form, here in the Brookwood Shopping Center. I've been to the Lawrence location, the Casbah, many times. One of my favorite places in Northeast Kansas. So while sad to see it go here, want to be able to celebrate its time here in Topeka and want to invite customers to come on out and have it one more time, or maybe if you had never gotten out here before, it's a great excuse to come by and try it, and maybe it'll make you want to get out to the Casbah and their other location.
What's the go-to on the menu?
See, I'm a different kind of guy. I don't necessarily have a go-to. Like my wife orders the same thing at a restaurant. Every time we go to the restaurant, it's the same thing. It usually gets the same thing. Mm-hmm. I'll rotate between 4 or 5 things. Like I just kind of go with the flow. We go with the whatever my whim is at the time. That being said, I really like the smoke. That's probably my favorite here. The bacon, the Gouda cheese, the Chipotle cocoa ketchup. That's probably my go-to. And, of course, you got to have the truffle fries or the duck fat fries. I guess you don't have to have the truffle fries. All the fries are good.
All the fries are very good. The smoke is my go-to. I get it every time. I have tried, I believe, every one of the burgers on the menu, save for the black and blue. But outside of that, smoke, that's the go-to. The Chipotle cocoa ketchup, so good. That's always the go-to.
My wife likes they have like a garlic parmesan, like aioli for for the fries. Yeah, it's been one of our favorite places, and we're excited to be here. We're sad to see it go, but we're excited to celebrate the Burger Stand and be out here from 3 to 6 this afternoon. We hope that some of you will come and join us. I'm Dan Lucero. Brendan Dworzinski is here. Spencer Dupuis is en route. If you are watching on our YouTube stream, you see producer-engineer Nick Bowers behind the board today. Nick can go ahead and wave to the people who think that Spencer has morphed or taken a different form today. No, that's Nick Bowers back at our back in the controls on our Hunt Hill studios, and he will be pushing buttons and turning dials today for us. You will see Spencer. He will be at the Burger Stand. He is en route. We do not have like Spencer Cam. We don't have like him like live with us like what was it? Herb Street on College Game Day a couple weeks ago when he was on the PJ and doing the picks,
doing his game picks from his private jet on DSL. I think that might have been dial-up, actually.
It was a pretty wild
100p. Yeah, there's like maybe 50 pixels on the whole screen for old Herb Street.
So the gang will all be here. We've got a jam-packed show here for the next 3 hours on 580 Sports Talk at the Burger Stand. We're going to talk some Chiefs football. Nate Taylor of The Athletic did not mince words yesterday. He says the Chiefs have to trade for a wide receiver. And now there is an increased urgency for the Chiefs to do so because there are a couple of other contenders who are also in dire need of a wide receiver after some unfortunate injuries on Sunday and Monday in the NFL. So we'll discuss that. And one name that is starting to get bandied about quite a bit as a possible trade target, a former Super Bowl MVP at that, we will discuss. Cooper Kupp didn't win the Super Bowl MVP, did he?
He did.
No, he did?
Yep.
Okay. I thought maybe they gave it to Aaron Donald, did the right thing and gave it to the actual best player, but now they never do that.
No, I believe Cooper Kupp did win Super Bowl MVP that
reasonably
year.
Certain that he did. That's why I said it, but then I had a
Super Bowl
had a
56.
moment of hesitation. Anyway, so much for that tease. We're going to talk about Cooper Kupp and whether or not he'd be a fit for the Chiefs with a bunch of money left on his contract and a concerning injury history. We will get there here at the top of the show, and then briefly discuss why it hasn't worked out for Skyy Moore. He's our favorite, everybody's favorite punching bag when it comes to talking about the Chiefs wide receivers, but he was a second-round pick and had a promising rookie year. What in the world has happened the last season and a half to take Skyy Moore from promising, intriguing piece for the future, Super Bowl hero, touchdown scorer in the Super Bowl, to completely out of favor and just getting his cardio in Chiefs games so far this year? We'll talk about why it hasn't worked for Skyy Moore. Also, we'll discuss the AFC playoff picture. If the season were to end today, the Super Wildcard Weekend games in the AFC would be vomitous. Absolutely disgusting. I don't think we need 7 playoff teams in the AFC this year. Frankly, I'm not sure we need 5. I think we could do just fine with 4 in the AFC this year and just skip Super Wildcard Weekend entirely. But since the NFL and Roger Goodell are unlikely to listen to me on the subject, we'll talk about what the playoff picture is starting to look like in the AFC and who in the world is going to get a wild card spot in this conference. Because right now, the teams sitting in the wild card spots, Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, and Denver. Hand up if you had that combination in the wild card slots through 7 weeks. So we'll take a broad. No, definitely not us. We'll take a broader look at the AFC playoff picture later on in the show. It is a Tuesday, which means we talk Jayhawks on the program. Jayhawk Weekly with Michael Swain of Fog.net and 24/7 Sports. Michael's going to join us at 4:35. Plenty to talk about. The Sunflower Showdown, of course, coming up on Saturday, and also Big 12 basketball media days this week. Women's basketball media day today, about which more in a second. Men's basketball media day is tomorrow. We'll get a preview of that from Michael Swain. And speaking of men's basketball media day, that's where your pal Dan is going to be tomorrow. I will be at the T-Mobile Center. I didn't know you knew Dan Aykroyd like that.
I wish.
You have other pals named Dan? Man, that kind of hurts my feelings a little bit. Anyhow, your pal Dan Lucero.
No, I actually don't.
Is that right?
No, I know a handful, but I wouldn't call any of them pals by any means.
Fair.
Hardly even acquaintances.
Fair enough. So I will be out at the T-Mobile Center for Big 12 Men's Basketball Media Day. And so on tomorrow's show, we'll hear from Jerome Tang. We'll hear from the K-State contingent. We'll hear from Bill Self. We'll hear from the KU contingent at Big 12 Men's Basketball Media Days. Women's Basketball Media Day was today, and I had the opportunity to speak with Elle Evans, junior guard for the Kansas Jayhawks, transfer in from North Dakota State, a first-team All-Summit League player last year who has come to add some size and dead-eye shooting to the guard spots for a KU team that made the tournament last year but returned just 2 starters from that squad. Elle Evans joined me earlier today, and we're going to play that conversation for you in the 5 o'clock hour. So lots of Jayhawks to get to today. We're also going to expand on a conversation. Brendan and I did not come to blows physically yesterday, but we had a disagreement about Big 12 quarterbacks, specifically Rocco Becht of Iowa State. So in that vein, we're going to expand out a bit of that conversation that we didn't really get to expand on, and we're going to talk about which Big 12 quarterbacks right this second are playing the best. And we might have some difference of opinion there as we discuss that on the show. So that is coming up as well. Plus, all of the things you've come to know and love from a Tuesday edition of 580 Sports Talk, including Random Question Tuesday, another round of What is Wrong with You, 580 Sports Talk headlines at the 5 o'clock hour. It's all here on 580 Sports Talk. And we're glad you are here with us, listening or viewing the show today, and you can interact with the show throughout. Top City Mail Supply text line is 785-272-9429. You can also join us if you are watching us live on the YouTube stream, and we invite you to do so. Again, our YouTube channel is 580 Sports Talk, and we love to see folks joining us in the YouTube live stream. We've started to really grow our day-to-day audience on the YouTube and see some new commenters, some new faces, and we love that. So join us if you have not, or if you have in the past, to get on in that YouTube live chat during the program, and you can interact with us and interact with your fellow listeners in there as well. Let's get into the big topic of today at the top of the program. The headline blunt from Nate Taylor of The Athletic in a story that was published late yesterday. Chiefs need to trade for a wide receiver now to help Patrick Mahomes. Sometimes like headlines are kind of vague, or they ask a question. No, that is Nate Taylor and his editors not pulling any punches. Chiefs need to trade for a wide receiver now to help Patrick Mahomes. JuJu Smith-Schuster has already been ruled out for Sunday's game against the Las Vegas Raiders, notoriously unreliable injury-wise the last couple of seasons. That leaves the following wide receiver group, 1 through 4, for the Chiefs that would be the top of the depth chart if no changes are made to the roster. Xavier Worthy, Justin Watson, Mecole Hardman, and Skyy Moore. Those are your top 4 wide receivers. Those are your only 4, in fact, wide receivers on the active roster.
And it's not great. Not great.
Yeah, and that's before you get to the numbers. The numbers for that group of wide receivers in the passing game through 6 games, those 4 have combined for 27 catches, 343 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So if you divide that, that is an average of 7 catches for 80 yards in 6 games per guy.
That's a great single game.
Yeah, that's like a prime Travis Kelce kind of outing.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of thing you get from a JuJu or a Rashee Rice or a Hollywood Brown, but none of those guys are walking through that door. And for Brown and Rice, obviously, they're not walking through that door anytime soon. The Skyy Moore stat that Nate Taylor cited, man, Matt Verderam cited this yesterday. I about lost it. Just absolutely lost my marbles on 580 Sports Talk. Skyy Moore has fewer catches this season than Wanye Morris. And Wanye Morris plays offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, he is an unplayable player, and we'll get to him a little bit more in particular later on. But, yeah, I mean, this is a bereft group of really any sort of functional talent at this point. I don't say that because I think Xavier Worthy's a bum, but you generally need at least somebody else who can make a play for you. And right now, this group just doesn't have one. I mean, you're running 3 usable players out there in that group of 4. That's it. Just 3 players who are actually worth anything. I don't care if Travis Kelce was playing at his peak. That's just not good enough.
Yeah, you don't have enough at wide receiver. No. Even if you were getting the very best of Travis Kelce, and even if this is a Chiefs team that excels in 12 personnel, 13 personnel, they're good when you put a bunch of tight ends on the field. That's great. You can't have unplayable dudes at wide receiver. Like, you've got to go get somebody who can, as we talked about, win a route one-on-one and get open on a third down situation. Yep. And the Chiefs are missing that guy right now. So Nate Taylor throws out a couple of the usual suspects. Deontay Johnson is a name that we've discussed a little bit. He's the leading receiver for the Panthers this year. He has 30 catches, which is to say 3 more than the active Chiefs wide receivers for Sunday. 357 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's 5'10", 180 pounds. He's got really good speed, and he's a rental. So he's 28 years old, set to become a free agent this offseason. So that would be a rental, which would mean that the acquisition price probably a little lower for whichever team would trade for him.
Carolina just needs picks, too. I mean, they are not in a position where they can be choosy beggars. They've got to get more capital.
And the Chiefs have an extra 3rd-round pick. We'll discuss this more in a second. But, like, the Chiefs are not a team that feels like they need to hoard their picks or they're really low on draft capital. They got that extra 3rd-round pick that they got in the L'Jarius Sneed trade for this coming season that really ought to be the starting point for a discussion on a wide receiver. If you want a guy bad enough, use that 3rd-round pick. Use your own 3rd-round pick, because frankly, the one you get from the Titans is going to be a little higher in the 3rd round than the one that you're using yourself. So the Chiefs have that extra 3rd-round pick to go get a guy. And Darius Slayton is another name that was thrown out. He's got 25 balls, 312 yards, and a touchdown. That's 14.8 yards per reception. Kind of like that idea. I feel like Slayton's a really and Nate Taylor uses the same word as I'm about to, underrated player, a guy that you don't think about. And part of that is he's been marooned on that Giants offense the last couple of years. But Darius Slayton would definitely add some upside. I don't think he's a true wide receiver one, but he would add something to the wide receiver room. And I'm not sure it would cost a great deal to get him either.
The issue with Slayton, I would not give up a third-round pick for Darius Slayton. I will say that. I'm not giving up anything earlier than day 3 because I don't know that we know what kind of player he is. I mean, he's been in the NFL for 6 years, and for all of them, he's played with Daniel Jones on an offense that has either been bereft of talent or bereft of quality coaching during his entire career. I don't know that we know if he is a good player or not. I mean, he's put up okay numbers in his previous 5 seasons. He's cracked 700 yards in 4 of them, and the only year he didn't get that high, he missed a number of games. He had 339 back in 2021. So I think he is a useful player, but I don't even know if we can judge it fairly to say whether or not he is indeed a good or useful player. So that's why I have no problem with the idea of going and getting him. I would not move a third-round pick for that player, I don't think. Could you get him for a 4th? I would do that. 4th or later, I would say, okay, go try Darius Slayton.
The big reporting today has been that the Rams are calling around and shopping around Cooper Kupp. Diana Rossini brought this up on Dan Lebitard's program earlier today. They are reportedly shopping the former Super Bowl MVP, looking for a second-round pick, offering to pick up some salary in 2024. Kupp is under contract for 25 and 26 as well. I think the question with Kupp, it's not the ability, obviously. I mean, that guy's a game winner at wide receiver. He's a guy who can get open against any coverage, running just about any route. Great hands, prototypical wide receiver one. And the question is, how healthy is he going to be? Because he really hasn't been healthy since that Super Bowl season and continues to struggle with injuries this year. Can the Chiefs afford to bring aboard a wide receiver who would not be maybe the most reliable option in terms of his availability?
So Cooper Kupp in his career, and I would consider a full season to be missing 1 or 0 game. Twice. Played a full season. Played 15 games as a rookie. He was really good as a rookie. 869 on 62 catches, 5 touchdowns. Really good as a rookie. 8 games in 2018. But 16 in 2019 had a great 100 yards, 10 touchdowns. COVID year, he missed just a couple games. Played 15 of them. Had nearly 1,000 yards. Then he had the Super Bowl year with Stafford, but he had one of the best wide receiver seasons in modern memory. You know where he finished in MVP voting in 2021?
Runner-up or something?
A wide receiver finished MVP voting. And he could have finished second. You could have made an argument he should have only been behind Aaron Rodgers, who's Offensive Player of the Year that year. Then in 22, played 9 games and had 800-plus yards. Again, talent there, durability, not so much. Then last season, played 12 games, had some down numbers. Rams were just kind of off-kilter all year. This year, he's only played 2 games so far. So, yes, you're right. The durability is a major concern because it is all in, because not wide receivers are built and have the body type like Cooper Kupp does. That being said, the Rams are looking for a second rounder. They'll eat salary. They'll probably eat even more if you were willing to give up more. The Chiefs will not be able to outbid anybody with a second round pick. Like the Chiefs second rounder will, because they're going to finish no worse than what in the AFC Championship.
If they go
game?
to the conference championship game, which again they've done every year of Patrick Mahomes' career, they would pick no earlier than 28th. So what are you talking? 56?
No earlier than 29th, in fact.
Yeah,
so
29th.
Yeah, so
58th. 58,
61.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
61.
you're right. Yeah,
because you back it up
32
too. So, yeah.
teams. Yeah.
So, yeah, no better than 61. So, if any team has a better offer out there, specifically from the AFC, you can't imagine the Rams want to trade in the NFC, they would take that deal instead. I am going to make the bold proclamation here. I understand the durability concerns. I understand he's owed a lot of money. Just get it done. Move the first-round pick. Just do it. Move the first-round pick. What would you rather have right now if you're the Chiefs? And I think Paul on YouTube puts this a really good way. If the Chiefs bring in a receiver and don't three-peat, at least they went for it. But if they don't three-peat because they were giving extra targets to Watson, Hardman, and Moore, that is hard to explain.
Amen.
And I agree wholeheartedly with Paul. I think that is a tremendous way to put it. And we talked about this just a couple weeks ago. I am a go-for-it guy.
Yeah.
If you've got a chance, then go do it. The Chiefs, let's be frank, the Chiefs don't care about first-round picks. The Chiefs, this is the first time they've made 3 straight first-round picks in like decades. I mean, it's been forever since they've done that. Certainly since the bad years, they are willing to move picks to get good players. You can move off of the Kupp contract after the 25 season. Cap will go up. You save $20 million. I wouldn't worry about the length of it, given the injury history, given he'll be 33 years old. You're thinking about this year. You're thinking about next year, because again, let's not forget, the Chiefs are going to have to run back with this situation again next year. Rashee Rice will be back. That's great. Hollywood Brown, you already don't have. He's on a one-year deal. Yeah. You don't have any future depth at wide receiver.
No.
I would absolutely say,
other than Worthy,
other than Worthy, right? Who we're still waiting to find.
Spencer's here, by the way, kicking down the door like Cosmo Kramer.
Yeah, about Rashee Rice being suspended.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's certainly possible. I'm hypothetical at this point, though. He will be back on the team next year. My general point is you need receiver help now. You need receiver help then. Would you rather have that in a guy like Cooper Kupp, or would you rather have a first-round pick who, best case scenario, might maybe one day be Cooper Kupp? I'd rather have the player.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have the player too. And it's something that I said back in camp. We were getting close to closing out the 53-man rosters and talking about, possible trade targets even then. And I said it, look, you only get one chance to make history, like the Chiefs have the opportunity to make history and win a third consecutive Super Bowl. And I am okay with saying, you know what, if we trade our first-round pick, maybe that hurts our chances of winning Super Bowl 62, but we've got 3 rings already with this core group. And if we go get a 4th this year, we're the greatest team in the history of the NFL. It's the greatest dynasty in the history of the National Football League.
Correct.
If you win 3 straight Super Bowls, that is worth going for. That is worth trading a first-round pick, mortgaging a small part of your future to have a chance at a present that is unprecedented in the history of the game, in the Super Bowl era. So
couldn't agree more.
I am with you. I think it is worth saying we will not be outbid. We have to go get the guy who's going to change things for us.
And like the PFF nerds will complain about, oh, you moved off this asset, the 5th-year option, all that. Okay, nerd, kiss this ring. Like that's all the and obviously Brett Veach doesn't care about those guys. He's not worried about what, I don't even know who works at PFF anymore. All those guys left. But you understand what I mean. Like that's all that matters. And if it works, then who cares? And the idea of Cooper Kupp in this Chiefs offense, especially this more West Coast, less spread offense that the Chiefs are running, less modern spread, I should say. I mean, it's fascinating. It's exciting. It's enticing. It feels like a perfect fit. So if he's on the table, and if you say, you know what, we'll give up the 29th to 32nd pick and that 5th year so we can get 2 years of a potentially truly elite wide receiver, I wouldn't think twice. I would just do it. Because then you're outbidding everyone. If even the 40th overall pick, that's not worth 29th overall and an extra 5th year. Go do it. Make the move.
Yeah, I would do it. I would do a first-round pick for Cooper Kupp. I think I'm sold on the idea. I wasn't sold when I thought about it earlier today because what about the injury history? Yeah, what about he's won a Super Bowl MVP? What about if you get him on the field with your training staff, which the Chiefs trust their training staff to get guys ready to play and have a lot of belief and a lot of faith in the training staff? What if you just go get this guy, and if he's available for December through January/February and he wins you a Super Bowl, then you're legends.
And here's the other thing, too, about the injury is and the durability question before we get to a break here. Okay, you got 11 games left. Wow, man, maybe you'll only get 8 games out of Cooper Kupp. Oh, would you rather give all those snaps to Skyy Moore?
No.
No, absolutely not. I would absolutely take 8 games of Kupp right now over any other option out there, without question.
I take 6, and then whatever you get from him in 25.
6, whatever.
As long as they're the right 6.
Yeah, as long as it's not missing time in January and February, hell yeah, go do it.
And I don't know that I would be as gung-ho about this if it weren't an opportunity to three-peat. Because it's one thing to go out and win a ring. Like, flags fly forever. Paul makes a comparison in the YouTube live comments to what the Royals did in 2015. They mortgaged a little bit of their future to go get Johnny Cueto and Ben Zobrist, and they don't win the ring without those guys. Like, they don't win the ring without Cueto's complete game.
No question.
And with Zobrist at the top of that order. Like, they went for it, and that flag flies forever. They don't take that flag down because in 3 years they lost 100 games instead of maybe you had a better chance winning 85 in 2018 if you'd held on to Brandon Finnegan and whoever. I don't even remember all those guys. None of them really panned out in the end. I guess Minaya did. Yeah, Manaya's had a good career, but okay. Yeah, you would have had a better chance of winning 85 games in 2018 with Sean Minaya. but that flag is still flying in left field at Kauffman Stadium that says world champions.
And if you go and win the title this year, and then in 26 you finish 8-9, historically who will remember that? No one.
Yeah.
No
one. Absolutely no one. If you have the greatest stretch in history by a quarterback or by a team, no one will remember what comes after.
No, it's a once in a lifetime, really, opportunity.
Literally.
I think the Chiefs should treat it as such. And if they do that and treat it with that kind of urgency, then I think that's better for this team than to say conditional 7th for Demarcus Robinson and call it a day. Now, what do I think is more likely? Maybe it's the latter option, knowing how the Chiefs have operated. But if there's ever a time to deviate and just say, damn the torpedoes, let's make history, this would be the time.
Right now.
Yeah, this would be the time to do it. We'll take our first break here on 580 Sports Talk. We are live at the Burger Stand in Topeka at the Brookwood Shopping Center off 29th Street. It is the grand finale week here at the Topeka Burger Stand. They are closing on Saturday. They want to see all their favorite customers one more time, and we want to see you. So come on out and say hello to us. We're up on the balcony here right above the bar at the Burger Stand. If you come in from 3 to 6 and check it out, you're more than welcome to come and say hello to us. We'll be here until 6 o'clock. But we're going to take our first break. When we come back, why is it that Skyy Moore can't play? What happened? We'll briefly discuss it because I think it only needs brief discussion, frankly. We've also got Random Question Tuesday. We got an AFC playoff picture look. Lots of KU stuff. Michael Swain will join us. Elle Evans from the women's basketball team in the 5 o'clock hour. It's a jam-packed show. We're just getting started here on 580 Sports Talk. 3:35 on 580 Sports Talk. Just getting things started. Dan, Brendan, Spencer, Nick Bowers, producer, engineer, helping us out as we're on location this afternoon at the Burger Stand in Topeka. Final day of operation for the Topeka Burger Stand is October 26th. They want you to come on out and enjoy one last hurrah, one last delicious burger, one last order of truffle fries, one last whatever you like here at the Burger Stand.
They have so much cool stuff hanging on the walls here. Like, what are they going to do with it?
They're putting it in your apartment.
No, like I would take that Miller Lite sign right in front of me.
The neon sign?
The neon sign.
Would your girlfriend take it?
Probably.
Yeah.
All right.
You don't have a ton of space in there just yet. Where you put that in the bedroom? Light it up at night?
We're moving.
Okay.
All right. Man cave time.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Speaking of last hurrahs, we might be seeing Skyy Moore's last hurrah as a Kansas City Chief.
You promise?
I thought we were last year.
I kind of did
me
too.
too.
I kind of did too. I was a little surprised that he ended up making the cut and being on the 53-man roster. He has played 82 offensive snaps this season in 6 weeks.
It's not great.
And what's that average out to? It averages double-digit snaps every game.
12 or so a game.
Yeah, averages to 13, 14 snaps per game.
82 total?
Yeah.
Yeah, just under 12. Yeah.
So he, in those 82 offensive snaps, Skyy Moore has fewer catches than Wanye Morris, who is, again, an offensive lineman, and the same number of catches as Dan Lucero, Brendan Wrzinski, and Spencer Dupuis. Now, I don't know about you guys. I can get open, but not for long. And it helps if the corner has a coronary event and collapses if I am running the route. That's how I could get open. But we don't have any catches, guys, at this table.
No,
and,
not a single one.
Neither does Skyy Moore. And that's what I don't understand. Like, I really did think that when the Chiefs took him in the second round, like, I saw the vision.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, the vision is not that much different than the vision they had for Rashee Rice and have ended up being able to execute with Rice before he got hurt this year. What I can't understand is like, I don't think he's like super slow. There's not an injury thing. It's not he doesn't know the playbook, so he can't get on the field. He's on the field
for 47 snaps or 47%, 33 snaps. Yeah.
I mean, look.
Why isn't it working? Why is Skyy Moore a cipher in this Chiefs offense?
I mean, I don't think he was that great in college to begin with. He had one good year.
Most guys only have one good year in college.
Yeah,
right?
I was going to say, I mean, I think a lot of guys are one-year wonders in that regard. Now, if you wanted to make the argument about his level of competition he was facing when he was in college, should you draft guys from the MAC?
That early?
I don't know about that early. Eric Fisher was the first overall pick out of Central Michigan, and he played in the league for 12 years.
We just talked about how Cooper Kupp's had this wonderful career. He played at Eastern Washington.
Yeah, the Pride of Yakima. So, I mean, you can find talent everywhere. I don't say this to be critical of, like, his overall intelligence or anything. I think it's between the ears. I think some guys just are not cut out to make it in the NFL, and that's unfair, and that's not super analytical about skill set or anything, but some guys just don't have it, and some guys are not. Maybe he's great with the playbook, and he's just incompetent once he steps between the chalk. I have no idea, but maybe he's not good with the playbook. Maybe he's a bad practice guy. Maybe Mahomes only throws catchable balls to some guys and not him. I think it has to be something between the ears because there's no physical reason why. Skill set wise, you're absolutely right. Coming out of the draft, you saw the vision perfectly. Nobody else on the team at the time was the perfect candidate to run 8-yard outs. Like that's all you needed from him. He ran close to 4.4 speed at the combine coming out. He was a precise route runner. That was his number one skill coming out of Central Michigan.
Right.
Is he was really good as a route runner. I thought it made a lot of sense, and that's what makes me think that this is something that you can't really fix with coaching, with the weight room, with the jugs machine. I just sort of feel like he doesn't have it upstairs.
If you were going to fix it with those things, we're in year 3. Like I think we could have seen it fixed to a degree by then. Yeah, it does feel like a confidence thing where he doesn't have it and Mahomes doesn't have it in him, and so he doesn't see the ball. And then the one time he did get open and they threw him the ball last week, he dropped it.
How terrible is Justin Ross?
How truly terrible at the NFL level is Justin Ross that he can't get on the field?
Man,
apparently same as Nico Remigio.
Yeah, I mean that they must be genuinely
like
terrible.
They haven't even called them up.
Yeah.
Like you would think they would call them up as a.
And everybody likes Nico a lot, but Nico had those 2 fumbles in the preseason, and that was it. Like
he did this year what Deneric Prince did last season, right? Oh man, Deneric Prince, that's RB3. Maybe he's going to be RB2. Fumble the kickoff, and you're done. Yeah, that's it. That's probably it for his NFL career.
Yeah, it's all about trust. If you can wait to make those mistakes until a regular season game.
Yep.
Like if you're making them in a preseason game, they're never going to give you another chance. But if you can maybe wait and make them tell you in the regular season, like Carson Steele's still on the roster. If Carson Steele had fumbled week 1 of the preseason, we would not know who Crocky J was. I can promise you that.
That's true.
We would not know who that was. But no, for whatever reason, it just hasn't worked out for Skyy Moore, and that's why the Chiefs are a part of the reason they're in. You would like to think that your second-round pick from 2 years ago would be hitting a stride in year 3, and instead you have to make a trade. You're in a position where you absolutely have to go get a wide receiver. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, a little Random Question Tuesday on this edition of 580 Sports Talk, live from the Burger Stand in the Brookwood Shopping Center in Topeka on 580 WIBW. 344 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan, Brendan, Spencer on a Tuesday, live for the Burger Stand in Topeka in the Brookwood Shopping Center. All right, random question for me. I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts was 60 Songs That Explain the 90s, Rob Harvilla at The Ringer. Then it expanded to doing 120 songs, and they kept calling it 60 Songs That Explain the 90s. And now they have a third season, 60 Songs That Explain the 90s, the 2000s. So now they're doing 60 songs from the 2000s, and one of the ones that they did was Mr. Brightside by the Killers. And a point of discussion in the podcast was that Mr. Brightside is the Sweet Caroline for the Gen X, Gen Y generation. I want your thoughts on that particular declaration. Has Mr. Brightside reached that instant, no matter where you hear it, karaoke level song?
Yes.
That's one answer.
So, okay, if we're talking that is the barometer we're using, then yes, I would agree. Now, if you were to say, are there any other ways that those two songs are connected? The answer is no, because Mr. Brightside is good and Sweet Caroline is an affront to God.
Yeah, I
hate that song.
I also hate Sweet Caroline.
I only, whenever I hear it now, and it's because I lived in West Virginia for as long as I did, I don't have a reason to. I want to utter 3 words.
I don't know
about Pitt.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah,
about eating a certain delicacy. Yeah,
delicacy
that rhymes with Pitt.
Yes. I agree that it has become that song. I don't know that. So what's a better stadium sing along? Is it Mr. Brightside? They do it at Michigan football games now. That's kind of become their thing.
Yep.
Over the last 2-3 years. Or is it All the Small Things by Blink-182, which the Colorado Avalanche adopted, won a Stanley Cup a couple of years ago. The San Diego Padres also began using that as something of an in-stadium anthem this year because Tom DeLonge is from San Diego and a big Padres fan. Which of those 2 songs is the better stadium sing-along?
Stadium sing-along, I think I would go with Mr. Brightside. I think the pacing of it a little bit helps, like the chorus of it.
With all the small things, you get to do the na-na-na-na-na-na.
Yeah,
you get to do
true.
that. That's kind of fun.
But fans, generally speaking, have no rhythm.
Yeah.
This is
so
true.
I feel like it sort of just falls apart once you get like 4 nas in.
Yeah.
I'd probably go Mr. Brightside. It was cool when the Avs won the cup and they were playing All the Small Things. That was pretty neat. Yeah, every championship team has something like that.
It was neat.
So yeah, I'd go with that with a slight edge. By the way, you might think the University of Michigan and their fans like Mr. Brightside. Then you will see like a club full of English kids singing it, and it will make it look like Michigan fans hate that song. Like you have never seen excitement over a club song or a stadium song like British kids when they hear Mr. Brightside. Having seen it with mine own eyes, they go ballistic.
That's funny. All right, that's my random question. What do you got?
Who is your favorite college football coach all time who has nothing to do with your favorite program? Never coached there, never was an advisor there, didn't go to the school. Favorite coach that had nothing to do with your program. I'll expand it to basketball as well.
Favorite coach?
But my answer is Bob Stoops. I love Bob Stoops.
Okay.
There are probably reasons to not like Bob Stoops. I love Bob Stoops, and I will never say a bad thing about the guy on the football field. I love that. When he came back and coached after Lincoln Riley left, I put so much money on Oklahoma to win that bowl game because I knew he would cover for me, and he did. Shout out to Big Game Bob.
Bob Stoops, that's a good answer. Trying to think because really you're just going on personality and vibes. If it's not a program where you care about the wins and the losses, you're just looking for like a vibe, whether that's like their press conference vibe or whether that's like the stuff that they run and the way that they want to play.
I would have gone Steve Spurrier, but when he coached at South Carolina, that was my favorite team. So I felt like it didn't quite line up. I do love the old ball coach.
I liked Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia. I really liked that. I thought it was going to work at Michigan. I really, really did. And they didn't give him a fair shake, which was their own problem. But I was a big fan. And then the whole world caught up with his offense, and he just was just another guy once everybody caught up with him.
They're starting to win again at Jacksonville State, though.
They are.
Their last 3 games, 44, 63, 54. They put up points.
That's wild. What, you got an answer for this?
This is going to sound weird, but it's just because of the insane stuff that happens. Like when it comes to interactions that he has with people or online, Lane Kiffin.
No, that's a good answer.
No, that's a vibes answer.
Allegedly, when Lane Kiffin was with Florida Atlantic, when they were in Conference USA with Marshall, he allegedly went out to the student bar, like the well-known student bar.
I have no problem believing that story.
Joey Freshwater. Yeah.
I have zero problem. No, that's from a vibes perspective.
That's a great answer.
That's definitely a good answer.
My random question is, have you ever seen something in a place and just want to buy it?
Are you talking about the Miller Lite sign over here?
Have you ever done that at some point?
So I was at when I lived out in Colby, they got a bar downtown Colby called the Beehive. And the Beehive had this clock, and it was like supposed to be a mock-up of Coors Field where the Rockies play. It had like the mountains in the back and had the scoreboard. It like had a constant scroll on the bottom. You could say whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
Then it had a clock display. And I did. Like, I really wanted that. I was about to make them an offer, like right then and there. Like, I really want your clock. I know that it scrolls your cheeseburger special on the bottom, but I don't care. I want it. I really want it.
My answer is yes. I cannot pull one specifically for you because I feel like it's every time I go to a new bar or a new city. Like, oh, yeah, I want that. I absolutely want all of these things. I think I picked every single thing on the wall at Louise's downtown in Lawrence at one point and said, yes, I want this.
You got to get on eBay.
Really
or
do.
Etsy it and see what you can find.
No, dude, I'd be broke in a minute.
That's Random Question Tuesday. We'll step aside for a break, come back, wrap up this 3 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk live from the Burger Stand at the Brookwood Shopping Center in Topeka on 580 WIBW. Back to wrap up the first hour of 580 Sports Talk, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, 580WIBW.com. If you are watching the video stream with the three of us today, you're watching us eat because the folks at the Burger Stand here in the Brookwood Shopping Center have brought us out some burgers and fries. Spencer, what do you got there? What do you got there, big dog?
I got just a regular burger, add bacon.
Okay,
fries.
Keep it simple.
Keep it classic.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of fries? Just regular fries?
Just regular fries.
See, I'm bougie. I got the truffle fries, and Brandon and I got the same burger. We got the smoke.
Got the smoke.
I thought about the fire. I really did, but then I
that's
remembered
my number two. Yeah,
like I like it a lot, but also it's not named the fire like for fun.
No,
like,
it's hot.
Yeah, it's a hot burger, and I didn't want to be in any kind of like lip agony, like licking my lips the entire final 2 hours of 580 Sports Talk. I felt like that would be a bad move.
Yeah, I wanted to try the smoke, but I then came to realize I'm fighting some allergies. It would not be a great rest of the show. I'd be like taking my headset off, sniffing and
man,
it would not be good radio.
Fall allergies got me in a 3-0 hole in a best of 7 series now. It's absolutely bludgeoning me.
I don't want to speak too soon. I generally don't get fall allergies, or if I do, it is a very brief thing. Springtime, though, camel clutch every day. just wake up in the walls of Jericho every single day.
Yeah, man. I can't even. Like I'll take an allergy medication. It won't matter. It's still got me in the Steiner recliner for the better part of my waking hours. But thankfully, can taste the fries, can taste the burger, and you can watch us eat. If you want to watch us on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk is the YouTube channel. You
usually
can also
have to pay to watch that.
Yeah, that's a whole thing that I'm not going to ask you how you know about, and I'm not going to ask you about any further details. But yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, you watch us eat for free. 580 Sports Talk is the YouTube channel. WIBW News on Facebook.
I'd like to share one thing. While we were talking during the last segment, I had a text thread pop up with some buddies of mine who we did college radio together. And they said one person is a Rams fan, the other two are Chiefs fans, then myself. And they were saying, my Rams friend said, stop trying to take him away, you perverts. I think it would be dumb for Casey to trade for him. Seriously, though. And then my buddy said, who's the Chiefs fan, says, I don't really want him, but I wouldn't say no. He's hurt a lot. To which I said, I just told people that I would move a first-round pick for him. And no one seemed to agree with me. But I'm telling you guys, it's either that or 33 snaps a game for Skyy Moore. So
yeah,
take a pick.
The choice,
and if you're cool with that, then you truly do think Mahomes is the greatest to ever play the sport, probably regardless of position.
Yeah, it feels like a pretty clear choice to me. If that's the option, yeah, go get Cooper Kupp. Go make it happen. Go chase that three-peat. Do whatever you got to do. Move heaven and earth to chase the three-peat. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, Michael Swain will join us for Jayhawk Weekly. We'll also do What Is Wrong With You. But we'll begin the hour with a look at the AFC playoff picture. It's gross outside of the really obviously good teams. We'll talk about it next. Hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk from the Burger Stand next. Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk, hour number 2 on this Tuesday afternoon. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis, Brendan Drzezinski, producer-engineer Nick Bowers with us. I went not clockwise, counterclockwise, I guess, that time on the video stream, introducing everybody. Great to have you with us here on 580 Sports Talk on 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and, of course, on our video stream. You can watch us on YouTube Live and on archive if you missed the show and want to catch the video later. You can watch all the video highlights. You know, all the highlights. Today, a lot of the highlights are us cramming food into our mouths here at the burger stand.
Yo, these burgers, though, really good.
They are really good.
Yeah, it's outstanding burger here at the burger stand.
And you only have so much time to come and have one because the final day of business for the Topeka location of the burger stand is on Saturday, the 26th. So keep in mind, between now and when things close down on Saturday, a few different things you should be aware of here. Happy hour is 3 until 6. Wow, how perfect. When were we here today? 3 until 6. 22-ounce beers are the same price as a pint. I don't know my measurements all that well, but that's a really good deal.
Pints is 16 ounces.
Yeah, I know that for certain. So 22 for the price of 16. Thursday is still trivia night. So even though this is the final Thursday here at the burger stand, it is still going to be trivia night. Plus, happy hour fries deal. Fries are free when you buy a burger and sit at the bar here at the burger stand. And if you've ever had their fries, you know how good of a deal that is.
Absolutely. So, yeah, come on out and enjoy the final week of the burger stand here. 13 great years in Topeka. They want to celebrate those with you and see their great customers here in the capital city one final time before they close the doors here in the Brookwood Shopping Center on Saturday.
I've got a great idea.
Oh, do you?
If you're not one of the lucky thousands of people that are heading to Manhattan on Saturday to watch the Sunflower Showdown, come here and watch it.
Well, that would be a great way to
close down this joint. Like,
close it down in some style.
That spends the most money here the night that they close.
You know, that is a good idea.
I was skeptical, but that was a good idea. I'm always worried when someone says, I've got a great idea. Many times it is not a great idea. That actually was a great idea.
Great idea.
It was. Yeah. That was a good idea.
Spencer, would you like to also regale us about what happened during the news break at the top of the hour?
What do you mean?
Yes.
I did go down and ask.
Yes. So
they were selling off the stuff, and he said, I'm not really sure. I know a lot of it's going to our Lawrence location.
There you go.
So,
so unfortunately, I got the probably no.
That's tough.
You tried, though.
You tried.
That's important.
Yeah.
To dare is to do, as they say.
Why not ask?
You may as well. Worst thing they could tell you is no, and they're not going to kick you out of here. So, no on the Miller Lite sign for Spencer's. I don't know.
Future
man
cave.
There you go. There you go. Again, we are on video. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube is the channel. You can catch us on Facebook as well and watch us. The Facebook page is WIBW News. Still to come this hour. Well, everything. We just started the hour. But coming up this hour, we've got 2 new stories competing on What Is Wrong With You. We've also got Michael Swain joining us for Jayhawk Weekly. Michael Swain from Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. And with crossover season rapidly approaching, that means we got a lot to talk about with Michael. We have a KU football win to talk about. Those have been hard to come by this season. We'll break down KU's win over Houston, look ahead to the Sunflower Showdown on Saturday in Manhattan. We'll also look ahead to Big 12 basketball media days and what we expect to hear from KU head basketball coach Bill Self when he takes the podium tomorrow, and what to expect from their preseason scrimmage against Arkansas coming up as well.
We are 1 week from KU versus Washburn.
1 week.
1 week from today. We are, I don't know how many hours that is off the top of my head, but 1 week and under 3 hours. And we will have KU basketball at Allen Fieldhouse, and we'll have Washburn basketball at Allen Fieldhouse as well. Of course, I'm so excited. I'm not counting down the days or the minutes or seconds or anything like that.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever broadcast that yet?
No, I never have. The last time that Washburn and KU's men faced off would have been the COVID year.
Was it 2020?
It was 2020. It was a game that was a scrimmage or an exhibition for Washburn, but it counted for KU, just like how K-State played a game that counted for the Cats against Fort Hays State, and it was an exhibition for Hays. We remember how that one went.
Yeah, one significant difference.
Yeah. I did. I remember listening to our pal Jake Laban do the call of the game because I had been in Topeka calling the Washburn women who played the same night in a one-off game while the men were at Allen Fieldhouse. The COVID year was bizarre in terms of basketball scheduling in the MIAA.
It looks like it's on an every 4 year because the time, every year that there is a presidential election, KU plays at Washburn. Because my first time doing it was 2016, and I was new on the job here. I just moved to Topeka. I just started working at WIBW, and I was going to be Jake Laban's color man for his season of Washburn basketball. And he says, "Yeah, the men play Kansas. That's their first game." And keep in mind, I had never been to Allen Fieldhouse. So my first time in Allen Fieldhouse, I'm right on the court calling a game with Jake Laban. Yeah, that was something else. That was a really good team. That was the Josh Jackson, Frank Mason. That was an Elite Eight team that should have been more than that, but Bill Self kind of panicked when they got down against Oregon.
And that would have been Chip's final year.
Yes,
correct?
It was also Bob Chipman's final season, at Washburn. So they played at KU and at K-State that year.
Because it used to be, a little history lesson for you, Spencer, and for those who didn't remember before, it used to be two exhibitions against the in-state program.
Yeah, so they play Washburn and Hayes or Washburn and Pitt, and then they play Emporia and the other two that they didn't play.
Yep. Not including Newman. They were the redheaded stepchild of the group. Probably for good reason.
Tough.
Sorry, Jets. Sorry for that one. But then they moved it to the one, and they scheduled differently and have the secret scrimmages or the charity games now.
Yeah.
So really looking forward to this one. It has been a long time. And Washburn, you want to talk about a fun schedule. The men play KU. The women play both KU and K-State this year.
Yeah, that's right.
Laura Westling's group going to get an early season test.
And we'll talk a little KU women's basketball with Michael Swain and also with junior guard Elle Evans, who joined me earlier today from Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Day out in Kansas City. Had a chance to chat with the North Dakota State transfer about why she chose KU and how a very new roster is building team chemistry as they get set for this season.
Elle Evans, a year ago, do you know what she shot from three as a sophomore at North Dakota State?
Started with a 4.
45.7%.
Rainmaker.
That is crazy.
And 6'3", so nobody's throwing it back in her face either.
Well, right. That's not okay. I'm sorry in advance for saying this. Those aren't Nick Timberlake shooting stats. Like that's a legit shooter right there with good size. I know she mentioned MED Day today. She was happy to be playing a little bit closer to home. She's from the Illinois side of St. Louis, this metro area. She's going to be a great fit for this KU team. And everybody getting to pair with Samaya Nichols is apparently like the it thing in women's college basketball right now. Pretty cool for KU to have a player like that.
Oh, yeah, 100%. No, so I talked to Elle Evans earlier today. Really enjoyed the convo. We'll bring that to you in the 5 o'clock hour of today's show. And we'll have lots from Big 12 Men's Basketball Media Day tomorrow. I'll be in attendance at the T-Mobile Center. We'll hear from Jerome Tang. We'll hear from Bill Self. We'll hear from both the KU and K-State player contingents on tomorrow's edition of 580 Sports Talk. Get you even more excited for the start of basketball season. But it is still football season. You all right, bud? No, he's not. We're gonna have to. Do you know the Heimlich?
Spence? I do not.
I don't know it either. So you can't choke out on us.
Little patty down the wrong pipe there.
Oh,
we're fine.
Okay.
We're fine.
It'd be like that sometimes.
It's my fault. It was not Burger Stand's fault. That is entirely my fault.
It'd be like that.
I'm trying to do 12 things at once over here.
Come out and see us today at the Burger Stand, the Brookwood Shopping Center. We've already had a listener come by, say hello. So you should come out, and it's happy hour here, and the food is delicious and fresh and hot. And you should come out and get some and say hello to us here on 580 Sports Talk. But let's get back into.
You can turn up, or you can turn in and look up, and there we are.
We're up on the balcony. So you come in,
lording over you,
over the top of the bar. Yes, we are the all-seeing and all-knowing 580 Sports Talk crew. Let's get into some football. Let's get back into some football. The playoff picture in the AFC is revolting.
Yes, it is.
After 7 weeks, this is what we've got. The Chiefs are the number 1 seed, as things currently stand. Naturally, they're the only unbeaten. Mm-hmm. They would have the number 1 seed in the AFC if the season ended today. Your division leaders right now feel pretty safe. I don't think anybody's running Houston down in the South.
No.
I don't think anybody's running Buffalo down in the East.
No.
And though Pittsburgh and Baltimore have the same record at 5-2, if you've seen Baltimore play and you've seen Pittsburgh play, you kind of have a pretty good feeling for which of those has more staying power.
Unless Russell Wilson just becomes vintage Russell Wilson.
I don't think he has vintage Russell Wilson.
I don't think so either,
and I am
but
the last Russell Wilson defender, and even I don't think he's got vintage Russ left.
That's the only possibility.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think this is why, though, if you hear us talk, this mostly comes up in baseball, but football too. When you talk about small sample sizes, right? And why you need more data points to be able to come up with a true encapsulation of what a team is, what a team can be. The start of the year in the AFC North is a great example of that. And you only get so many data points in the NFL. I mean, you only get 17 games in a season, so your sample size, you kind of have to scale differently. But through 7 games, if you watch Pittsburgh and you watch Baltimore, those two teams could not be more different at this point. Like, Baltimore looks like it is going to run through your face every single play. Lamar is playing far better than he did last year. I'm willing to go that far. He's playing much, much, much better than last year, and he was the MVP last year.
And he looks like he's going to win another one, unless they just decide we're not giving this guy 3 for whatever stupid reason.
Yeah, and
he looks like he's going to win another MVP on current form.
Derrick Henry, I did this math a little bit earlier today because I saw some Cowboys fan or content creator on Twitter say, will people please stop talking about why the Cowboys didn't sign Derrick Henry? Like, he wouldn't have been as good in Dallas. That's probably fair. Yeah. If you said, you know what, let's assume he's 200 yards better in Baltimore than he would be in Dallas. If you took 200 yards off of Derrick Henry right now, he would still lead the NFL in rushing. If you took 300 yards off, he would be 3rd in the NFL in rushing. That is the kind of gap between him and the rest of the field right now. That offense is incredible. The defense, I'm not worried. I have questions, not concerns, but I have questions about their defense, and especially if Marlon Humphrey's hurt long term. That's going to be a concern. But other than that, I would put them in the safe category, to be honest with you. Cincinnati, even if they make a push for the 7th seed, they can't win that division at this point. Cleveland is in the deepest bowels of hell. I think the division winners are all pretty set at this point.
Which is a wild thing to think in week 7, right?
7.
But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And quick aside about Baltimore. I know we just talked about them a little bit. They were obviously on TV last night. They fell behind 10-0, and then they just devastated the Bengals. The Bengals offense quit functioning as soon as Mike Evans got hurt, but their defense couldn't do anything with the Ravens once they started. The Buccaneers, yes. Their defense couldn't do anything against the Ravens once the Ravens got started rolling downhill. The thing that keeps me from saying that Baltimore is the best team in the AFC, because I think there's a convincing argument you can make, even though they are 5-2 and have lost to the Chiefs, who are 6-0. You can make a compelling case just watching the two teams play that Baltimore is maybe a little more explosive. Certainly their quarterback is playing better than Kansas City's quarterback right now. Like, you can make the case. The only reason I wouldn't make the case that Baltimore is better than Kansas City right now, putting the records aside, is that we sometimes refer to the Chiefs going bozo mode. The bad turnover or a stupid 3rd-and-1 play call that has no chance.
Yep.
We've referred to the bozo mode Chiefs. Frankly, they have largely avoided bozo mode in the first 6 weeks. Maybe that means they've been a little bit more conservative, but they have largely avoided bozo mode. The Ravens bozo mode also exists.
Yes, it does.
And it's the kind of bozo mode that gets you beat by the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
These Raiders.
Yep.
And that is my concern for the Ravens, is that their mistakes are more imminent. That's not the word I'm looking for. Their mistakes feel less avoidable. Their mistakes feel more baked into the experience than Chiefs' mistakes. The Chiefs feel more trustworthy to me than the Ravens do over the long haul. I guess that's what I'm getting at.
No, I think you're entirely right. And I also think that, let's be blunt about this. Prove it. Like, if you're that good when it counts,
they were that good.
It.
They were that good last year, and they tricked off the AFC title game at home.
We both said going into that game the Ravens were the best team in the NFL.
Yes.
I don't remember if you did. I know I picked the Ravens.
I did too. I picked the Ravens to win, yeah.
And they couldn't get it done in that spot. And I understand that there is a difference between who is the best team right now, regular season, who is the best team when it gets to the AFC Championship game. I know that. But I can't separate the two at this point because we've seen it. We have seen Baltimore be the best team in the NFL all the way to the final week of January, and it doesn't matter. We have seen the Chiefs be that good. We've also seen the Chiefs kind of just drag an iffy roster all the way to that point and then decide, okay, we're going to win now. And they do it. Like, you cannot get me to get off of that belief until we have some further proof that someone is actually going to beat them when it's going to count. Buffalo is the same thing.
Burden of proof.
Yeah. Cincinnati is the only team that we've ever been able to make that argument for, and you really can't anymore because it's been 3 years since that AFC Championship game.
Yeah. No, I think that's exactly right. I think the burden of proof is on Baltimore. They want to be considered the best team. You have to go out and win those games. They've gone into Kansas City and won week 1. If Isaiah Likely wore a size 10 shoe and not size 13 or whatever it is that he wears.
And wore white.
And wore white, maybe we had a different conversation, but we don't. This is the evidence that we have. And on the evidence, I'm okay saying the road still goes through Kansas City, even though Baltimore, you could argue, maybe is playing better. I still think Kansas City is broadly the better team.
I agree.
Then you get to the wild card picture, and my God, is this grim. I don't even want, if this is super wild card weekend, you can keep it. These would be the wild card matchups in the AFC. Bills, Steelers. We saw that. We've already seen that movie. We watched it last year on a Tuesday. They moved it to Monday. They moved it to Monday afternoon because of the snowstorm there in Buffalo.
Yeah, it was on during Sports Talk.
Yeah, I remember watching. Yeah, and we have seen that. We've seen what that looks like. Ravens Colts would be the 3-6 game. And a little storyline there. Baltimore, Indianapolis, always a storyline. But
there is one way that game is interesting, and cruelly, it's that one of the team's starting quarterbacks gets hurt and can't play.
Yeah.
Like, that sucks. That's brutal if you're Indianapolis. But playoff game, who would you rather have playing right now, Anthony Richardson or Joe Flacco?
Probably Flacco.
Then you get
Definitely
then
Flacco.
You get the Joe Flacco revenge game.
Like, okay, that's interesting. But on form, like, that Colts defense doesn't belong in the postseason. They don't belong in like an XFL exhibition game. I mean, that is a gruesomely bad unit.
Also, their offensive line is patchwork. Like, they're picking people up off the street.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot right now. The 2-7 game would be Houston and the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are 4-3. We haven't really expended much oxygen on the Broncos.
Right.
Rightfully so. Yeah. Look, they wrecked the Raiders a couple of weeks back. They lost. They were down 23-0 to the Chargers, got rolled at home by the Chargers. Then on Thursday night, because it was the most important game that Sean Payton has ever coached, he went back to New Orleans and beat his old team. Like, that was very clearly all the eggs in this basket kind of game. They have the Panthers at home this week, so they're going to go to 5-3. Then they go to Baltimore. Then they go to Kansas City. And we'll find out how good this Denver team really is. I think their defense is good. I think they might have a playoff caliber defense. Like last year, their defense was maybe the worst in football through the first 2 months, and then they played great back half of the season. This year, their defense is playing terrific. Like Zach Allen's playing like a Defensive Player of the Year candidate up front. Patrick Surtain, though he was hurt last week, is having a terrific year at corner after maybe a little bit of a down year last year by his standards. Mm-hmm. Like they're very good on that side of the ball. Bo Nix is the quarterback. And you watch the film. Don't show me numbers. Don't show me that, he's got the big-time throw percentage of some of the elite quarterbacks in the league. PFF has the big-time throw stat, which is just the most nonsense. You know who used to lead the league in that all the time? Drew Lock. Drew Lock was a big-time throw merchant, and nobody thinks he's good.
No, that's so true, though, because he just had absolutely no feel for the game and would constantly try to throw it into tight windows down the field. That's hilarious, but it's so true.
I have said on yesterday's show, Bo Nix is a backup quarterback. He has a backup quarterback skill set, and if you have a good enough coach and a good enough scheme and some good enough players, you can make some things shake with a backup quarterback. It's not impossible to win with a backup quarterback on a week-in, week-out basis. But what's that Bronco offense going to do against Baltimore and Kansas City's defenses?
So I'm looking at the advanced metrics right now, the expected points added. The Broncos' defense is number 2 in the NFL, only behind Minnesota, which I think is playing above its head a little bit so far this season, but they've been great. They get credit for that. Offensively, they're 25th. Number 2 defense, number 25 offense. That doesn't win any. That is the epitome of the team that gets the 7 seed. Remember when the Bears got the first ever 7 seed in the NFC?
With Trubisky.
Yes, that team.
Speaking of a backup quarterback skill set.
Nobody on that team should have even been allowed to have bought a ticket to watch a playoff game, let alone been allowed on the field to play in it. Like, that's That's what the 7th team has been, and I know that's not going to change, so it's not worth relitigating it. But my point is, sure, the Broncos could be a playoff team. No one thinks a team that's going to get in the 7th seed is going to win anything.
No.
There's only one 7 seed that's ever won a game, and Green Bay was playing really well going into last year and obviously throttled the Cowboys. But generally, that 7th seed has been
sacrificial lamb.
Like,
7 seed Pittsburgh going into Kansas City 3 years ago when Roethlisberger's last game.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it usually looks like.
You don't get a bye as the number 2 anymore, but you do get to play the Bronco offense.
Yes,
that's what you get.
It's a functional bye.
Yeah.
Bo Nix in a playoff game on the road. Oh my God, I might put my kid through college on that.
You know what's funny about this is that we spent all last year and a lot of this offseason, we being not just the show, but the entire football watching and consuming public. Oh, my God, the NFC, what a crap conference. All the good quarterbacks, all the good teams, they're all in the AFC. The AFC's tippy top is really good. Houston is so fun. Baltimore is awesome. The Chiefs are obviously great. The middle class is like the Bills and Steelers. Like, that's what I would consider the middle class of the AFC. The rest is like that. It sucks. Like, this conference is the bottom from 10 on down. Dolphins, Raiders, Jets, Jaguars, Titans, Browns, Patriots. Do you want to watch any of those teams? Not get to the playoffs. Do you want to watch any of those teams play a football game?
No, not even. I don't want any part of that. No.
The nine is.
I'd rather go thrifting.
9 is the Bengals, who they have a good quarterback. They are fun at least. I don't know that they're
They
good.
can't stop anybody, but they play fun games.
Right now, the 8 seed's the Chargers. I watched the entire Chargers game last night. I'm good. I'm out. I'm good. I have seen more than enough Charger football this year to be done. They are awful.
Justin Herbert threw for 349 yards and his team scored 15 points.
He threw. People were blowing this up on social media last night. That throw he had to Jalen Reagor downfield. First of all, did you know Jalen Reagor was a Charger? I did
not.
Sure didn't.
Caught the ball at the 6-yard line. Perfect throw. Absolute dot from Herbert. 1 step fumbled through the end zone turnover. Like, that's what the Chargers are, and that's what Herbert will always be unless he gets traded somewhere else or leaves in free agency. But compare that then to the NFC. Lions, Commanders, Seahawks, Falcons, Vikings, Packers, Bears. Those are your 7 in right now. Every single one of those teams, at the very least, is interesting and fun. Eagles, Bucks, those are your 8 and 9. Cowboys, Cardinals, 49ers, Rams. Like, that's 13 teams that at least you go, well, yeah, I'm kind of interested. Like, there's a way I could be interested. Now, Saints, Giants, Panthers, that's another affront to humanity. But you understand what I'm saying.
Yes. No, well-made point. We got to take a break. We'll come back. We got our What is Wrong with You? We got Michael Swain coming up for Jayhawk Weekly. Hang with us. This is 580 Sports Talk. Time for What Is Wrong With You on 580 Sports Talk. We're live at the Burger Stand in the Brookwood Shopping Center in Topeka. Dan, Brendan, Spencer. Nick Bowers is our producer-engineer. Spencer kind of has a Wilson from Home Improvement thing going with his camera right now on the YouTube live stream. Yeah, you got to bring that up a little bit.
We're good. I've been moving it around.
Everything lower than his nose was blocked there for a second. It's all good.
What a great show and what a great character.
Yeah, man. Home Improvement was a big Lucero family hit. That was something my parents could watch with me. That was convincing. A little too convincing. What is wrong with you today? We got two news stories trying to take down our current weekly champion, the Road Rave, the Florida man in Pennsylvania who was 3 times over the legal limit drunk and just parked his car in the middle of an intersection, was jumping up and down on the hood and listening to music.
Hell yeah.
Having himself a little dance party in the middle of the street. Totally trashed.
Yeah, it rules.
My story today, we're going to Memphis, Tennessee. You guys familiar with Crime Stoppers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Call in, give a tip that leads to the
crime,
capture of a criminal.
Yep.
You get paid. Well, maybe you could have turned in a police officer from Memphis who was stealing from the Crime Stoppers.
Oh, no.
How about up to $18,000
No.
in stolen funds?
Not good.
Now, the officer pled guilty to the crime this summer, but it's been kept under wraps until WREG investigators in Memphis uncovered federal records. Since 2018, Erica Hutchinson was one of 2 officers assigned to sort through the tips and then give that information to the investigators. That investigator documents the usefulness of that tip in a database, which Hutchinson had access to. Records state that from August 2023 through February of this year, Hutchinson used her position in law enforcement to enter fraudulent data into the Crime Stoppers database and then had a person named KB receive rewards for the tips. That person, of course, was known to Erica Hutchinson, and they split the tip reward. Records state that Hutchinson and KB fraudulently obtained $18,500 in rewards from Crime Stoppers. Hutchinson was placed on leave when the scheme was discovered in February. She resigned in April. She was charged in federal court in June. 2 weeks ago, sentenced to 6 months in prison plus 2 years supervised release.
Wow.
Now, what I want to know is, did they get a Crime Stoppers tip about her?
I hope so.
I hope they did too.
My story is going to take us to Florida, where we meet 58-year-old Eric Haddad, who is an employee at his family's car dealership, Guru Auto Sales. That's in Aventura, Florida. And he had a customer, this is all the way back in December of last year. He had a customer who wasn't paying his bills. He just was missing payments on his 2020 Honda Accord. So to get back at him, instead of, calling the police, instead of trying to get someone to repossess the car, he stole it himself.
Carjacked it. Holy cow.
He carjacked his own customer and is now facing up to 15 years in prison after being convicted by a Miami jury. Yeah. The victim is a 24-year-old man of Haitian descent who bought the car in October of this past year. Those are the main details of it. We're short on time, but yeah, Haddad said, you know what? You haven't paid your bills. You haven't paid your bills in a couple of months. I'm going to steal the car back from you. And you know what? You can't do that.
No. $13,800 was the outstanding loan balance. He carjacked a customer. Wow, these are great stories
These
today.
are great stories.
Spencer, help us out. Who you got today?
I think I got the carjacking his own car.
Carjacked his own customer.
Yeah. I'm going with that one. I think that one wins the week as well.
The customer is always carjacked. I think so. Yeah, I think that's advancing. I think the carjacked customer advances on What Is Wrong With You. We'll take a break. When we come back, we have got for you Michael Swain of Fog.net for Jayhawk Weekly on 580 Sports Talk.
there being any place that's better to coach or play at than the University of Kansas.
The goal is to win championships, pure and simple, one day at a time.
That's what made a difference today in the game.
I was hoping that was vodka.
Dollar signs.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
What a scene in Lawrence, Kansas tonight.
We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline by Michael Swain of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Subscribe and become a VIP today to the 24/7 Sports Network. Get Michael's outstanding insight on all things Jayhawks. He joins us for Jayhawk Weekly at this time every Tuesday on the program. And Michael, we'll get to plenty of basketball, but we'll start with football. It is Sunflower Showdown week after all, and KU is off the schneid in the Big 12 after their 42-14 victory over Houston on Saturday. My impression was that it was the kind of game you needed to see from Kansas against an overmatched opponent. What was your big takeaway from the way Kansas performed and earned that win on Saturday?
Yeah, I think top to bottom, that was probably the most complete performance we've seen from Kansas maybe all year, even including the Lindenwood game. You got to remember in the Lindenwood game, Jalon Daniels has the interception, Quentin Skinner fumbles. That wasn't necessarily the cleanest game for KU. So I think you're right. It was the perfect, I don't know if you want to call it get-right game, but get momentum game for KU because they're able to show offensively that they continue to improve. And that, for me, I think is the most encouraging part of this is the fact that, yeah, we know KU's run game is really, really good, and Houston's offense is terrible. So it's hard to read into the KU defensive performance. But what you can take away is against the what was then the third best defense in the Big 12, KU's deep passing game was back, and Jalon Daniels completed over 50% of his passes 10-plus yards down the field for the first time this year. Like, that's really encouraging, especially when you look at K-State and their secondary being, the weakness of that defense where the front seven is really a strength. So I think overall, like, it was, if you're going to draw up a game of how you'd like to see it go for KU, I think the Houston game honestly went about the perfect plan.
Why is it you feel like Jalon Daniels has played better football? Is it just a matter of shaking off the rust, or are there some situations he's being put in that are more advantageous? What has contributed to his in-season turnaround in particular?
Yeah, I think you nailed it right there. I think knocking off the rust has been really big. I think just getting that connection back with some of the guys who have been around a long time. And, the more I've thought about this, guys, I think back to, you see a lot in the NFL, for example. Like, I'm a 49ers fan, and Brandon Ayuk was a holdout during camp. Well, the first game, he really struggles to find a connection with Brock Purdy. And even though those two are great last year together, it's different this year because you didn't have those reps during training camp and over the offseason. And it feels like for KU, it's a very similar situation where, yes, Jalon has thrown hundreds, maybe even 1,000+ balls to Quentin Skinner and Luke Grimm and LJ Arnold in his career. But this year is a new year. And I think early in the year, that connection wasn't there. I don't think the confidence was there from Jalon. And I think you've really seen the confidence grow, the connection grow, and the rust come off to where now I think that was easily Jalon's best game of this year. And look, I think even if maybe back to last year, probably his best game since that Illinois game in week 2. So I think it's a really encouraging for KU, the fact that Jalon has knocked off this rust and has found that connection with the wide receivers, because it comes at a critical time where Kansas is going to need points. And a lot of points this week against K-State.
Speaking of the Sunflower Showdown on Saturday at Bill Snyder Family Stadium, what does a KU win look like? Do they have to win a shootout? Is this going to have to be a 30, 40-point offensive performance? What is the framework you think of a game that ends up with KU snapping the 15-game skid against their in-state rivals?
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to a few things. I think first and foremost, KU's got to get Avery Johnson to turn the ball over twice. I just think K-State is going to put up points, and that K-State has put up points consistently this year. And in order to stop them, I really do think turnovers are going to have to be really critical for Kansas here. And I think offensively, he's going to need to have a really, really explosive game because this K-State front seven is so talented and is so well coached and well drilled, and they do a great job of stopping the run, but then really getting after the quarterback. So KU isn't going to be able to execute 10, 12 play yard drives 8 times or 4 times, 5 times. Like, I think there might be 3 drives all game where Kansas has a 10 to 12 yard opportunity. right? I think a lot of the times for KU, if they're going to score, they're going to need a 5-play drive where it's a couple plays early, a deep shot, then 2 plays to get in the end zone. Like, I think that's the type of game KU's going to need offensively. And defensively, it's going to take a whole lot of really quality tackling from KU, which has been an issue this year. And I think it's going to come down to, can guys like Melo and Kobe force Avery Johnson into some turnovers?
Last weekend was a big recruiting weekend for KU football. I know they had a lot of kids in town at Arrowhead Stadium for that Houston game. What are you hearing coming out of that? Was it a weekend that made the kind of impression the staff might have been hoping for?
Yeah, I think so. It's so hard right now because of the way the situation is with Arrowhead and KU really not being able to get some of these guys to go to Lawrence. I think what you're seeing is KU taking every opportunity to get guys to come watch the team in person, and then hoping that will, spur some interest in January, right, when guys are really deciding kind of the 4 weekends they have to go on junior day visits. So I think it's a positive start for KU. It's tough because you can't show players all the construction. You can't show them all the new renovations that were just completed to the football complex. And so I think they're making do with the situation at hand. And I think a game like that against Houston, where the defense shows up, the offense shows up, really can get some interest in some players.
Michael Swain is our guest. He covers the Kansas Jayhawks for Fog.net and 24/7 Sports. This is Jayhawk Weekly on 580 Sports Talk. Michael, if we can flip momentarily over from the gridiron to the hardwood, let's get to some KU basketball. How prepared are you for the start of exhibition play, secret quote-unquote scrimmage play this weekend, and then the exhibition next week?
Am I ready? Well, no, I'm not ready. I enjoy one sport going on at once. But no, it'll be really interesting. And I think this game against Arkansas this week, I don't know if we're going to learn a ton about Kansas because obviously Hunter Dickinson has a sprained foot. Like, why would you play him in this game? I don't see any reason why you would. But maybe this creates an opportunity for Florida to get some minutes. And for some other guys in the rotation, like a Rakeese Passmore, maybe he's able to get some more run. But I think generally, now that we're into, Big 12 media days or Wednesday for the men's, we're definitely in that time of year now where we get to learn a lot about Kansas. And you're not going to learn a lot from KU against Washburn or against Howard, but I'll tell you what, in the next month, KU's going to play, Michigan State. They're going to play North Carolina at home. They're going to play Arkansas in this road exhibition. Like, we're going to learn a lot about this team that has a lot of new faces and that I think a lot of people expect to look different, but we got to see it for ourselves. And that's what's really exciting about this time of year.
Coming up on Wednesday at Media Day, what are you expecting to hear? What are you hoping to hear from Bill Self and the players?
Yeah, I don't mean to be cynical, but it's such a terrible timing because, we did the Media Day last week with Bill Self and the team. And so I don't know if there's a whole lot new that can be covered outside of maybe some injury updates and talking to some of the guys more about the off season and maybe who are some of the guys around practice that have maybe caught their attention. And so, yeah, I think it's really going to be more of a day about some of the players and maybe what Bill Self is going to say, just because I think for the most part, man, we covered a lot. And talking to him after late night, he talked about the Tony Bennett situation. I'm sure some people are going to ask about that as well. So, yeah, I think for me, probably a more interesting player day than maybe a head coach day.
Self said at late night last week that this is a roster that fans are going to love. And I think just based on skill set, he's probably right about that. It's a team that can actually score and has scorers. That's a nice change of pace. But when you look at this group of newcomers, and I know we talked a little bit about Zeke Mayo a week ago, who do you look at as probably the most likely to contribute at a high level immediately? Like, for example, I think AJ Storr is going to be a really good player for this team, but he's got to figure out how to play any amount of defense and be a more consistent rebounder before I think we hit the peak of him and his playing time at KU. So which of the newcomers do you think is going to have the biggest immediate impact?
Well, I think you're probably right saying Zeke Mayo, just because from the get-go he fits that two-guard role next to DeJuan, and he's someone that has a lot of experience. And I think he's just going to have a really good season overall. Is he going to be an all Big 12 type of person? We'll see. I know we've talked about that in the past, but I think Zeke is going to be the guy that has the best opportunity to hit the ground running. I think AJ Storr's range of outcomes of this season is pretty wide. It comes down to, is he going to buy into being a part of the offense? Because if you guys watched him at late night, man, it really looked like someone that was really excited to go and get his. And so can he play in the team construction that Bill Self has? Can he rebound? Can he play defense? Then you look at some of the freshmen. I think Flory will most likely have a more limited in the big picture of things. When you think about a 5-star freshman, right? I don't think he's going to play 20 minutes a game. It's going to be very much, he's playing what Hunter's not, and that's what's going to matter. So I think big picture for KU, these newcomers, Zeke feels like the highest floor type of player. AJ Storr feels like the highest ceiling. And then the freshmen, I'm really interested to see how they look during non-con play, because as we've seen with Bill Self teams, that really determines if they are going to play and be a big part of the rotation going into conference play.
Do you think we're going to end up seeing a red shirt for this year's roster? I know you wrote a little bit about this behind the VIP wall over at fog.net, which is why all of you should go be VIPs like Dan and myself are. But I know everybody thinks it's going to be Jamari McDowell, and I don't know if that makes sense. I'm not in with the team every single day, Michael. I have no idea if that makes the most sense for this group. I like McDowell's prospects as a player. Maybe it would be better for him to just sit and practice for a year. Do you think that he or anyone else has a legitimate chance to be redshirted?
The other guy would be Rakeese Passmore, and that's just not something I've heard that's even been discussed with Rakeese. So I really do think if someone is going to redshirt, it's going to be Jamari McDowell. And you look at the minute construction of this rotation, where is the least minutes available? Well, it's probably on the wing playing the 2 or the 3, and that's what Jamari is. And so I think he's a guy that lines up. If you listen to Bill Self's quote, I thought he made a really good point. Is it worth it to play a bit part role here in 2024-25, or is it more is it a better situation for Jamari in 3 years to have that year available to him when he is a 24-year-old or 23-year-old, redshirt senior? And I would lean towards that. I think that is what for someone like Jamari, who is a developmental prospect, having that extra year of development, getting older, stronger, right? You see that a lot in college basketball. Age wins. And I think Jamari can be the type of player that, if he does redshirt, really puts his nose to the grindstone and improves, can be someone that makes an impact somewhere in college basketball as a redshirt senior. And so I think it makes the most sense, but obviously this comes down to the players, right? Does he want to, quote unquote, lose a year of basketball in terms of just playing? And everyone wants to play college basketball. So I think it's going to be a tough decision for Jamari, obviously. And so I'll be interested to see what happens.
Michael Swain of fog.net, 24/7 Sports, joining us for Jayhawk Weekly on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline here on 580 Sports Talk. Michael, last thing, Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Day was earlier today. Only 2 returning starters, so lots of new faces for Brandon Schneider's group after an NCAA tournament appearance last season. I had a chance to talk to one of those new faces, Elle Evans, earlier today. We're going to play the interview later on today's program. And she spoke about one of the main reasons she wanted to come to Kansas was to play with Samaya Nichols. How big a draw has Nichols been to this program, and how important was her presence to acquiring what looks like a really promising transfer class?
I think it's really huge. And look, you can look at this through a portal recruiting lens, where you've got someone that just wrapped up their freshman year in the Big 12 and looked every part of the star that she is. And you're right, like Elle Evans could have gone a lot of places. She's an elite shooter. She's going to play a big role this year. And look, there are other women's basketball transfers too that are going to play big roles in that. Also would probably say the same thing about coming to Kansas. That Samaya Nichols played a big role. But you look at the high school recruiting front, Keely Parks is a top 20 player in the high school class coming up here. She's from Norman. Kansas is firmly in that. And a big part of that is selling her on, hey, you come here, Samaya is going to be a junior, and you're going to get 2 years playing with her, and then the keys are yours when you're a junior and ready to really take that on. So I think this is the type of situation now where KU can use, how good Samaya is and how great of a leader she is, and make this something where you can build the current rosters around her, but where you can also build future rosters using her presence right now and what she means in the sport of women's college basketball.
Michael Swain covers it all at fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network, and joins us every Tuesday for Jayhawk Weekly on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Michael, it is always a pleasure. I presume I'll see you at the T-Mobile Center tomorrow?
Yes, you will. Should be great.
Sounds good. We'll see you then. Thanks for the time.
Awesome. Talk to you guys next week, and I'll see you tomorrow.
That is Michael Swain. We'll take a break, come back, wrap up the 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk next. Our thanks again to Michael Swain for joining us for Jayhawk Weekly here on 580 Sports Talk. Our thanks to all of you for tuning in, and an invitation to join us at the Burger Stand in the Brookwood Shopping Center in Topeka. We are here until 6 o'clock today, neatly coinciding with happy hour. So come on out and enjoy it, and enjoy it maybe for the last time, because the Burger Stand here in Brookwood is closing on Saturday, October 26th. They want a big blowout last hurrah with all of their favorite customers, and they want to see you come out one more time and enjoy the great food here at the Burger Stand. So if you do it today, you can come and hang out with us and say hello to myself and Brendan and Spencer here, as we've got one more hour of 580 Sports Talk still to come. We're going to do our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We are also going to hear from Elle Evans of Kansas women's basketball. I talked to her earlier today from Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Day, and interested to hear what the junior guard has to say about her first year as a Jayhawk. So that's coming up. We're also going to rank the Big 12 quarterbacks on their current form right now, an extension of a conversation that Brendan and I had yesterday. And how high do Avery Johnson and Jalon Daniels rank, again, on their current form of play? One more hour of 580 Sports Talk live from the Burger Stand in Topeka in the Brookwood Shopping Center on 29th. Come join us on 580 WIBW. Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk, final hour on this Tuesday edition of the program, live on location this afternoon, saying a fond farewell. The final week of operation for the Burger Stand in Topeka in the Brookwood Shopping Center. We invite you to come on out and join us for this final hour because it's also happy hour. The bar is filling up. We are right over the top of it. And you can come on out and get some happy hour drink specials and, of course, the same great food that the Burger Stand has been serving in Topeka for 13 years and will continue to serve up until Saturday when they close the doors for good. Don't despair. The location in Lawrence on Mass Street isn't going anywhere, but this is the final week of operation for the Burger Stand in Topeka at the Brookwood Shopping Center, and we are celebrating 13 great years here with them today. Dan Lucero, Brendan Dworzinski, Spencer Dupuis hanging out at the Burger Stand and with you on 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our video stream. You can catch it on Facebook, WIBW News. You can catch it on YouTube. The YouTube channel is 580 Sports Talk. Appreciate you being along for the ride today. We got one more hour of the program to bring you. We're going to rank the Big 12 quarterbacks, cuss and discuss how the signal callers in the Big 12 is played. We talked about it a little bit last week at the midway point of the season, that essentially how your quarterback is playing, were they overachieving, or are they underachieving, kind of has determined whether or not teams are over or underachieving in the Big 12. The teams that we all thought were going to compete and that aren't competing, Oklahoma State, Utah, Arizona, well, they've had underperformance to benchings to season-ending injuries from the guys we thought were going to be their quarterbacks. Meanwhile, the teams at the top of the league, BYU, Iowa State, Colorado, Arizona State, they've gotten better quarterback play than maybe we had anticipated when the season began. But on their current form, who are the best quarterbacks in the Big 12? That's something we'll discuss later on this hour. We will also play my conversation from earlier today with Elle Evans, junior guard for the Kansas Jayhawks, the North Dakota State transfer, entering her first season as a Jayhawk. She was out at Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Day today, and I had a chance to speak with her earlier, so we will play that conversation for you later on this hour. We'll have lots from Big 12 Men's Basketball Media Day tomorrow, including Jerome Tang, Bill Self, and the player contingents from KU and K-State we'll hear from on tomorrow's edition of 580 Sports Talk. I'll be live from Kansas City. Brendan will be in studio, and we will bring you lots of audio, lots of content from Big 12 Men's Basketball Media Day. Sponsored this year, I believe, by Sprouts.
Oh.
Yeah. It's very funny to go from Old Trapper sponsoring media days and Totino's with the pizza rolls people to Sprouts, the organic markets. We don't have a Sprouts at Topeka.
No, but I did remember that they were a sponsor of the Big 12 basketball tournament.
Yes, they were. They were one of the sponsors. They don't have one here. They have one close to where my parents live. My mom likes to shop at Sprouts.
I think there might be one in Lawrence. I don't know. My wife always talked about wanting to go to it. I've never been. And yes, you are correct. Sprouts Farmers Market, the sponsor.
Farmers Market, that's what they're called, not organic market. Yeah. Sprouts Farmers Market, the official sponsor of Big 12 men's and women's basketball media.
If you're spending that much time focusing on vegetables, I'm just not that interested.
I thought you were the vegetable enjoyer of this triad.
I like vegetable. We eat at my house. We eat broccoli regularly, lots of broccoli. My wife just roasted some cauliflower the other night. She eats carrots all the time. I will not even put a finger on a carrot. Corn.
What's your hatred towards carrots?
I'd rather die. I'd rather be dead than eat a carrot. I'm 99% serious. I don't think I'd rather be dead.
What's your gripe, though?
That's how I feel about pickles.
They're disgusting. They're vile and disgusting. It's like mayonnaise. Just a filthy, vile, disgusting creation. Man went far too far when they said, hey, what if we made egg paste? Filthy.
Since my wife and I have been doing the every plate thing, we there's a vegetable with every meal, right? And so we roasted broccoli last night with our pork meatloaves and mashed potatoes.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was awesome. I think I like the beef better than I like the pork with the meatloaf, personally. But the pork turned out great. The soy glaze was once again tremendous. And roasted broccoli, very good. I have found that if you drown vegetables in cooking oil and on salt and pepper and then roast them, they're all edible, even carrots.
Lori is disagreeing with me on YouTube, says carrots are so good, and so is mayo. Vance also says carrots, I don't get it. Here's the thing. They're disgusting. They're nasty. If you cook them, they're bad. If you eat them raw, they're bad. If you try to cover them with your insipid ranch dressing or something else, they're no better. They're awful. They're disgusting.
I'll start walking around the station like Bugs Bunny, just eating them, see if I can gross Brendan out.
Okay, to that point. It's not Friday, but we're not in the studio, so I can feel fast and loose here with the final hour of the show. So I went to high school with someone who was afraid of oranges.
Like afraid?
Afraid. Like would have to leave the room if he saw an orange. His name was Brett Cunningham. I remember it very
What if
clearly.
it were peeled? Did it have to be peeled?
Peeled, unpeeled. He was just
didn't matter. Just
scared of oranges. And his friends would sometimes put them on his desk just to freak him out. Like they knew, Brett's going to sit over by the door, and they would just put an orange on his desk.
That sounded like the kind of thing like back when Maury Povich would do like random fears.
Yeah.
And then that one woman who was scared of cotton, so they had a 6-foot-tall gentleman in a suit made entirely of cotton balls walk out, and she about had a heart attack on the stage.
Yeah.
It sounded like he needed Maury.
The Undertaker, scared of cucumbers.
Is that right?
There's a famous story about a rib they played on him at some filming of Raw is War where they filled his hat with cucumbers, and he freaked out.
Again, sliced or whole?
I think they were whole.
Because you know who else doesn't like cucumbers? Cats.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
There's like a whole cottage industry of meme videos of cats freaking out when they see cucumbers.
I wonder why. I like cucumbers.
Just not
like
trusting cucumbers. I'm not a cucumber or a pickle person. Not even a little bit. But I will eat a carrot. We had some.
I won't.
We had some like sesame carrots, roasted carrots the other night with something we had. Oh man, it was awesome. It was really good.
I'm a big like garlic cooked carrots guy.
Interesting.
I just swipe them into the receptacle, into the trash.
Anyhow, let's do some sports headlines, shall we? Let's.
I could just complain more if you want. I could do that all day.
I feel like that's this hour, right?
Complain about carrots. Let's get to some headlines. We got some 5A Sports Talk headlines.
If it was
this
a Friday,
hour.
we might just do that.
No, we really might. Let's start with some updates on some injured, or rather, let's start with some Chiefs update. Let's do the Chiefs headlines first. Jeremy Fowler reporting earlier today that it is a really bad injury for Chiefs cornerback Jalon Watson. It's the dreaded fib-tib fracture. Both the fibula and tibia. Did it really?
Yes.
And
not fun.
You recovered to play high-level cornerback in the NFL, though, right?
No.
Okay. Well,
definitely not.
Hopefully, Jalon Watson.
But I also sprained my MCL at that time.
Ooh,
too.
shit! What did you do? Were you just running around?
It's a story for another day.
Okay, fair enough.
It would take very long to explain.
For a Friday.
Yes.
Apparently. I'm worried we're going to lose, Spencer. The Capitals game is on in front of him. The Washington Capitals hockey game is on one of the big screens here at the Burger Stand. So I think we may lose Spencer at some point in the game. We're going to turn to him. He's going to be zoned out yelling at
TJ Oshie.
Protas.
Alexia
Protas. Yeah. Sure. Him.
TJ Oshie, sadly, is
They're already killing a
IR.
penalty. Kill a penalty.
TJ Oshie won't play again.
Oh, that's sad.
Back injury.
Anyway, Jalon Watson will play again, but not anytime soon. He is scheduled for surgery with that fib-tib fracture in his ankle, test confirming the injury. There is an outside chance, according to Jeremy Fowler, that he could return for the playoffs, but more likely at this point that his season is over, and that is absolutely crushing. I mean, we've been saying it.
He's been great.
He was terrific the first 6 games of this season.
Tremendous.
Genuinely outstanding. And he and Trent McDuffie were looking like maybe the best corner duo in the NFL. And now the onus falls upon Joshua Williams, who we know the Chiefs are very high on and who has played well, but will certainly have to step up in that role. Najee Johnson's going to get a chance. I think we're going to see Chris Roland Wallace get extended opportunities after he had his first career interception and really his first career opportunity last week. So looking forward to that. Shorthanded goal for the Capitals. And that is the latest on Jalon Watson. Also, Chiefs related, Bailey Zappi. Remember when he was signed to the Chiefs practice squad? I had forgotten. I had totally forgotten.
The only reason I remembered is because one of the last couple of weeks he was on the sideline, and whoever the color analyst was for the game on TV mentioned that He's talking that Patrick Mahomes was talking to Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, I had totally forgotten the Zap man had turned up on the Chiefs. Anyway, he's not a Chief anymore. The Browns have signed Bailey Zappi to their active roster after having to place the Nasty Man on injured reserve. So the Chiefs
and DTR is also Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Right, so they were down to one healthy quarterback on their roster, and they needed a rostered quarterback, so Bailey Zappi it is. Matt Derrick, first to report, or one of the first to report, our friend and our Chiefs insider, that the Chiefs will be bringing back Chris Oladokun to the practice squad. He had been just a street free agent, but he'll be coming back to the Chiefs practice squad to be essentially the emergency third quarterback for the Chiefs. So
I would bet that after the preseason, the Chiefs kind of made a deal with him, like, hey,
don't sign anywhere else.
Don't sign anywhere. Hang out in the Kansas City area.
Yep. I bet you're spot on about that.
They do a lot of that. What teams do with practice squad guys.
So those are your Chiefs notes for this Tuesday. Brendan, next headline.
All right, next headline for me. Let's continue around the NFL, shall we? We talked about it in the opening segment of the show today, but according to The Athletic, the Rams are reportedly willing to move Cooper Kupp, the former Super Bowl MVP. This was tweeted out today by Diana Rossini. The Rams have called multiple teams about trading former Super Bowl MVP Cooper Kupp. Sources tell me, Mike Silver, and Jordan Rodriguez. The Rams have indicated a willingness to take on some of his 2024 salary and are seeking a second-round pick. Now, if you just told me this was reported by Mike Silver and Diana Rossini, I would tell you it was made up. However, Jordan Rodriguez is really, really good at her job. I think she might be the best beat writer in the NFL. This feels very real. There are other reports out there that this is starting to pick up, and there is starting to be some momentum behind it. I would be somewhat surprised, but he is already into his 30s. I never remember that. I know he is in his 30s, but he just is perpetually 26 to me for some reason. But he is on the market apparently, and if the Rams are going to eat some of that salary, I am certain they can get a second-round pick from at least somebody. I would love for it to be the Kansas City Chiefs, but again, if they're willing to take on some of that money, someone will certainly meet their price. As for players around the league who are injured, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, the standout wide receiver duo for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they will both be out for significant amounts of time. We'll start with Mike Evans. He got first, dropped a touchdown pass yesterday, I think because he was in pain from a hamstring injury, because the ball was right in his hands. I thought he was going to haul it in for a touchdown. Well, it pops out. He goes down to the ground, writhing, grabbing onto his hamstring. That was already bothering him going into the game. So he will be out for at least 3 weeks. It is expected that he could return following the Buccaneers bye week, which would be in week 12. The bye comes in week 11. Meanwhile, Chris Godwin, absolutely awful, down by 10 points with only 90 seconds or less left in the ballgame last night.
It was 43 seconds.
43 seconds left in the game. Chris Godwin caught a deep pass from Baker Mayfield, turned upfield, was tackled by Roquan Smith, and the NFL said they're going to review this for a hip drop tackle. I didn't think it was even remotely close to a dirty hit. It just looked like a normal tackle to me, but Godwin's ankle truly snapped, and it looked horrible. ESPN immediately, Joe Buck said, our truck is telling us we're not going to replay this for you. But before they even moved the camera off of Chris Godwin, they said, yeah, we're not showing this again. So clearly horrific. I have not watched it because I'm not a weird pervert.
Where do you come down on that? Do you think the networks have an obligation to at least show it and maybe give a warning to the viewers, or do you think
that's the warning right there? Like, hey,
we're not going to show it?
Yeah, I don't think there's an obligation. Like if you want to show it, if ESPN said we want to show you this, then yes, I think you do have a responsibility to say this is a graphic injury. You've been warned. But I don't.
I kind of feel like, you show it once. You don't show like the up close. You show it once. You say, hey, look, you may want to avert your eyes from the screen while we show this. You may wish to. This is a graphic injury.
I generally trust the production folks at the networks. Like when Aiden Hutchinson of the Lions got injured a week ago, they showed it from 2 different angles on Fox. Tom Brady went, ugh. And then Kevin Burkhardt said, yeah, we're not going to show this again. Like that, we've done enough.
Yeah, they showed Brandon Ayuk's ACL once.
Yeah.
But they showed, I remember when Willis McGahee's knee went out in the Orange Bowl, or Fiesta Bowl. It was Fiesta Bowl against Ohio State all those years ago. I felt like they showed that replay like 20 times.
Yeah, I remember when my story is always when Marcus Lattimore at South Carolina got hurt. I mean, over and over. I'm not upset if they do show it, but I'm also never going to complain if they just say, hey, this is gross, we're not showing it.
Fair
like
enough.
I don't need to see it.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So Chris Godwin's ankle just terrible. I mean, really, really ugly injury. His foot was on the side of his leg. He was immediately put into an air cast and carted off. Now, what's significant about this, other than the fact that he is done for the year with the dislocated ankle and the breakdown there, he is a free agent following this season. So if Tampa is able to make it to the playoffs, they're not going to have Godwin, who was awesome so far this year. And that may be it for his time in Tampa Bay. That is certainly possible anyway. He has been a great member of that community. I know we've heard reports about that for a long time. Beloved by his teammates, and that's a really sad way for that to potentially end for his career in Tampa Bay.
All right, Spencer, what's your first headline?
We're going to go into the college ranks. KU players being recognized. Devin Neal is a semifinalist for the Jason Witten Man of the Year Award, and Kobe Bryant is the Nagurski Award National Player of the Week Award for his 3-interception game this past weekend.
So that's a National Defensive Player of the Year, National Player of the Year, Player of the Week award. The Nagurski Award itself is at the end of the year for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
But yeah, National Defensive Player of the Week for Kobe Bryant. Hard to argue. 3 interceptions. First since my guy Bill Crank in 1958. You think
You're
that was an
never
excuse to say Bill Crank on the radio again? Correct. You're right. You know me all too well. Bill Crank. I did it again. The Devin Neal thing is really cool. He's one of 20 semifinalists. That's a fairly new award. The idea being to have an award like the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award in the NFL to recognize it is not in any way a recognition of what a player does on the field. It's their contributions off the field, community contributions. And so very cool of Devin Neal to be recognized. Obviously, his on the field deserves so many plaudits. Next touchdown he scores, he's going to tie June Henley's all-time record. He's less than 80 yards away from breaking Henley's career rushing record. But to be recognized for what he is off the field, the person that he is also so well-deserved.
He's such a good dude. He's wonderful, and I'm glad he gets that kind of recognition. He very likely could break the record on Saturday.
Well, the touchdown record and the rushing record.
The rushing, yeah, he could theoretically break both, yeah.
I was kind of the mind that they might try to get it for him in the Houston game just so he could do it.
With the home fans.
With the home crowd, yeah. I thought like the touchdowns in particular, but now they threw the ball to Jared Casey on the goal line. He scored 2 touchdowns.
Hey, anything to get the tight ends involved.
Hey,
yeah.
look, we love Jared Casey, friend of the program.
Oh, yeah. So Neal needs 2 touchdowns to set the touchdown rushing record and 73 yards to set the rushing yards record. That's doable. I mean, I think, frankly, we'll get to more of this later in the week. I think it'd make a lot of sense for KU to run a lot of option stuff this week and to try to make things as hard as possible on that linebacker group that's playing really well right now. So I think 73 is absolutely within reach.
Yeah, the only question I would have would be game state. Like if K-State jumps out to a early lead, KU abandon the run a little bit or go away from more traditional running plays. That would be the only question I have. I think if the game stays close for 4 quarters, he's leaving with that record.
The only thing, truly, I believe the only thing that KU and K-State fans will not fight about face-to-face is the running backs. Like, I genuinely think that is the only point of, like, mutual respect between all fans of KU and all fans of K-State.
It's like KU fans will take their guys and K-State fans will take their guys, and both sides will say, yeah, I understand why.
Like, every Cats fan that I've talked to in the last year, especially leading up to and certainly after last year's showdown, was, oh, yeah, Devin Neal's great. Like, no, he's awesome. There's no disrespect. Devin Neal rules. And KU fans saying, like, oh, man, DJ Giddens is sick. Like, he's a hell of a player.
All right, last headline for me, a real quick one. The NBA is back tonight. The National Basketball Association opens the 2024-25 campaign. It is banner night in Boston, banner 18 for the Celtics, the reigning NBA champions, as they host the New York Knicks. That is one part of the TNT doubleheader tonight. The second game, the Lakers opening at home against Minnesota. Lots of rumblings as to how much LeBron James's son, Bronny, might play in his NBA debut tonight. Apparently, there's a lot of money out there on Bronny James as a long shot pick to win Rookie of the Year. His odds at some sports books range to 1,000 to 1. if you are considering a bet on Bronny James to win Rookie of the Year, please just give me your money.
Yeah,
instead.
give me your money.
Yeah,
I will make better use of it.
If you're so willing to part with it that easily and not get anything in return, just give it to me. I will buy diapers for my son. It will go to a much better cause than just lighting it on fire because you're doing a mean bet on Bronny.
The top 2 rookies in terms of number of bets placed for NBA Rookie of the Year and odds. Zach Edey is the odds-on favorite, the consensus betting favorite to win Rookie of the Year. He looked pretty good in the preseason. And Reed Shepherd, the former Kentucky Wildcat, now with the Houston Rockets. Those are the top 2 with the shortest odds. And combined, they are bringing in less money than Bronny James. There's no need for this. Gamblers are not smart. Let's just make that very clear. I say that as someone who likes to put a shekel or 2 down on a game. Not smart people.
No.
Not at all.
I would agree. So that's your NBA doubleheader to open the season tonight. New York at Boston, Minnesota at the Lakers. The 2024-25 NBA champion Denver Nuggets open on Thursday.
Are you not worried about depth this year? Because, I mean, that for the second year in a row, and really third if you want, like, I guess when they actually won the title, it was, can Jokic win the big one? But, I mean, yes, obviously, duh. Yeah. He's the best player in the world. Second year in a row, though, any concerns about depth?
Number one, I think Christian Brown is going to be a great starter at the 2 alongside.
I hope so.
Alongside their core 4 of Jokic and Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. I think Christian Brown's going to be a great fit playing with those guys. And number 2, I think Russell Westbrook was a great addition. I really do. Like, he's got his problems as a player, but he's what they need. He's a bit of a red ass. He plays hard every night. He's still athletic, gets downhill, pressures the rim, like competitive as hell. Like, he was the guy they needed because they, for whatever reason, they didn't have the same spark last year chasing the repeat. And I think there were a lot of reasons why that could have been the case.
It's hard to do.
I think they get a little bit of an edge back with Russ. So yeah, I'm very optimistic about the Nuggets. I know there are a lot of people out there saying, "Oh, they might drop to the play-in." I'm sorry. They're not dropping to the play-in.
No, they won't.
You want to bet that they're going to drop to the play-in? Just, again, give me your money instead.
You can't believe that if you're one of the people who says, "Oh, does Nikola Jokic even like basketball?" Oh, what? So he's going to try less hard so they have to play more basketball? Please.
All I'm saying is Jokic has grown out like a beard this year. So just evil Jokic is going for 30 and 15 a night. Just be warned. We'll take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. Come back, talk Big 12 football quarterbacks on the other side. From the burger stand in Brookwood Shopping Center in Topeka on 580 Sports Talk. 580 Sports Talk, 531 on this Tuesday. We're live at the Burger Stand in Brookwood Shopping Center. It's the final week of operation for this location of the Burger Stand, but they still want you to come out and enjoy it one final time before they close the doors after 13 great years.
If you're watching on YouTube, all right, Spencer fixed it. Spencer was going full Wilson from Home Improvement.
I had to plug my computer in. I really thought it was going to make it the entire show, but it didn't. Speaking of the YouTube, Jason asked us how our burgers were and what did we order.
The burgers went crazy, as they always do.
Smoke burger.
Brendan and I both went with the smoke.
Delicious.
I had some truffle fries to go with it. You just went with the classic, right?
Classic with some bacon on it and regular fries. This is only my second time here, so
good.
Yeah.
Did you get any of the fancy ketchups?
Yes, I tried the classic home or the house ketchup.
Yep, good.
And then one of their dill.
Ooh,
interesting.
Kind of.
Yeah, I know that one. That one's good.
You know what is sneaky incredible? The sweet potato fries, and then that like chocolatey, like the mushroom.
Chipotle cocoa?
No, the mushroom, like the mushroom marshmallow.
Yeah,
the marshmallow dip.
Yeah.
Oh my god, with the sweet potato fries. Oh yeah, my wife turned me on to that. That was that's a real great choice. It's still happy hour until 6:00 here, so you can come on out and enjoy that and enjoy some food here. Again, last day here in the Brookwood Shopping Center is October 26th, and they want you to come on out and enjoy their food and their beer selection and the great atmosphere here one more time before they close up for good. And of course, they're not closing up entirely because they'll still be out on Mass Street in Lawrence, but they want to say goodbye and thank the great customers for 13 great years here in Topeka. So that's where we're hanging out today.
I'll tell you what, it's really picking up for dinner now.
Yeah, the happy hour turnout's been really good, and we hope that you come out. We're here for another 30 minutes. Come on out and say hi to us before we have to pack up and move out on 580 Sports Talk. We were talking about Big 12 quarterback play yesterday. Brennan and I had a disagreement about Rocco Beck. I am not won over by Rocco Beck. Put together the game-winning drive against UCF on Saturday to keep Iowa State unbeaten, and I will give credit where it is due. But Beck did not play particularly well in the game. He was 20 of 46. He threw a couple of picks. And it got me to thinking about the bigger question here. Like right now, when you look at the Big 12, which quarterbacks are playing the best? Not who is the best, not who has the best pro future, not who had the best 24/7 sports ranking coming out of high school. Who's playing the best football of the Big 12 quarterbacks right now? I don't think there's much debate that Shedeur Sanders is number one on that list. And like the raw numbers are obviously impressive. The raw numbers were always going to be impressive. He's playing for his dad. Like, let's be real honest about what that offense is designed to do is get Shedeur his numbers. But even beyond the numbers, like you watch him on a week in, week out basis. They are not great up front, but they are better than they were last year and better enough that Shedeur's not running for his life on every snap. And when he can stand in and make throws, man, he is putting the ball on the money to what I think is the best wide receiver room maybe in the country.
It's up there.
Like, look, I was wrong. Hand up. I thought, especially after the Nebraska game, it was going to be more of the same like it was last year. Now, Colorado's a real football team. And, like, looking at their schedule, I still have questions about how many games they're going to win, but I think they'll be a little closer to 8, 9 than they will be to 5 or 6.
No, I know that he has I believe it's 5 better in completion percentage than the next closest Big 12 quarterback.
I believe it. And they don't throw a lot of swing pass stuff. Like they're not throwing
they're going
downs.
vertical.
Like they go vertical, they go over the middle, and Shedeur's completing 70% of his passes.
No, he has been great. He's not as good as Avery Johnson, and that's why he's 2 and Avery's 1. But yeah, no, I think Shedeur's up there.
So you think Avery's playing better right now?
If you were to tell me right now, pick a quarterback to play in a game right now, like we're fielding teams right now, who's your first pick on the playground? I'm taking Avery. I think Avery can do more.
I think he can too, but are they going to let him?
Are they now? Like, are they limiting him right now? Because
like, if it were me, I'd be running like 5-10 designed runs for Avery Johnson every game, but that's me. Like Kansas State has decided for whatever reason that's not something they're really interested in doing right now. But the threat, I think the threat has to be there more than it has been.
Are they not willing to do it, or did they play a Neil Brown team?
And was Avery dealing with maybe the after effects of an injury in the Colorado game?
He got hit a lot in the Colorado game. He was awesome. He had the best game. Honestly, even with passing wise, it was the best game of his career noticeably so against West Virginia. I think they don't need to run him all that often. I think against certain opponents, they're going to run him more. I would not be surprised to see him run a whole bunch in this game on Saturday, to be honest with you, against KU.
This would be a good week to break it out.
It would be a great week, in fact, because that would really play into KU's biggest weakness, honestly. If I was K-State, I'd run double running backs every single time out there with Avery Johnson. I think that would put KU in some sort of defensive hell. But no, I think Avery can do more than Shooter or Sanders. I think Sanders is really good. I think a well-timed blitz pretty much ends every single Colorado drive if you dial it up at the right time, though.
I think it's fair. They're 1-2 for me. I think the throws that Shooter is making give him the edge over.
I mean, he was incredible against K-State.
Yeah, he was
tremendous.
Awesome in that game. And running for his life in that game in a way that other defenses in the Big 12 really haven't made him have to do yet. Johnson's been terrific. Here's one for you. Who has more yards per carry this season, Avery Johnson or Cam Scadaboo?
I'm going to guess it's Avery.
It is. Who's got more yards per attempt this year, Avery Johnson or Devin Neal?
Avery.
Not by much. Avery's at 6 yards a carry.
Yeah,
Devin's at 5.9.
5.9. Yeah.
Scadaboo's at 5.7. Only one quarterback has more yards per attempt. It's Garrett Green, rushing attempt. And they run him a lot more than K-State has run Avery. And then, well, look what happened to Garrett Green.
Yep.
He got hurt.
Yep.
So, you kind of get it when you look at it from that perspective. Who's third? Who's playing the third best of any of the Big 12 quarterbacks right now?
I said it yesterday. I'd go back. I would put Beck there. I understand the apprehension. I get that. But I'm not going to say it yesterday and back away from it now. So I'm going to go with Rocco Beck there with a slim lead over Jalon Daniels, who was amazing this weekend.
That's Jalon Daniels' last 3 games, really. You go back to, I think, the TCU game as well, where he wasn't flawless by any means, but the trajectory has been steadily up.
Yes.
And I thought the quarterback we saw against Houston was the guy we saw in September of 2022. I think he's all the way back. I really do.
I hope he is, man. I really hope so. Looking at his numbers from these past couple of weeks, I mean, Houston was one of the best games of his entire career. Ran the ball well, threw it phenomenally. That was great. Against Arizona State, not especially efficient. You go back before that, like against TCU, he ended up with not especially pretty numbers, all things considered. Advanced match, like the QBR really didn't like him in that game. Maybe this is just the effects of how bad the start of the season was, that I'm not willing to give Jalon all the credit for being back at this point. But he's closer to what we thought he would be than he has been at any other point this season. I would like to see it in a game I would like to see it one more time, game on the line. It's not Jalon Daniels' fault KU lost to Arizona State. Not at all. He put them ahead with under 2 minutes to go.
Yeah.
He did all you could have asked him to do in that game. I need to see it one more time, though. I have no problem with Jalon. If you want to tell me right now that just based on this last week, Jalon's number 1, I would say great, awesome. I love Jalon Daniels, but right now, all things considered, I've got to put him number 4.
Can we put any respect on Morton's name at Texas Tech?
No.
17 touchdowns, 3 picks.
No, I will put no respect on Baron Morton's name. He's a fraud.
They
just
like
lost by
a
program.
Like I would have before they lost by roughly $1 billion to BYU.
Yeah, but we're talking about quarterbacks, not teams.
This is true, but that was not
most important player on the team.
Yeah, like they lost by a bunch. Sawyer Robertson outplayed him comprehensively.
No, he's got stench. He has that Lubbock stench all over him.
I don't know how real it is and how much it's just like these are the numbers a Texas Tech quarterback puts up in the Texas Tech offense.
Ratzlaff is my 5.
Yeah, Ratzlaff's turned the ball over a little bit too much sometimes. He got 7 picks this year, which is more than you'd like to see. But no, he's playing. He's making big time plays.
So much better.
The argument for him and the argument for Beck are basically the same, right? Like this is not maybe like a top flight athlete. This is maybe not a guy who is a blue chipper, but they're making winning plays and they're functioning within the offense and they're doing the things that their team needs them to do to win. I'd go Ratzlaff ahead of Beck just for the sake of argument. Go Ratzlaff 4 and Beck 5 myself. We got to take a break. When we come back, my conversation from earlier today with Elle Evans of KU Women's Basketball from Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Day. That's coming up from the Burger Stand and the Brookwood Shopping Center in Topeka on 580 Sports Talk. 544 and 580 Sports Talk. Dan, Brendan, Spencer with you. Earlier this afternoon, Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Days were held at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, and I had a chance to connect with a new member of the Kansas women's basketball team. Elle Evans is a transfer from North Dakota State, a junior out of Edwardsville, Illinois, who is going to provide size and shooting, and lots of shooting, to this Kansas roster this year. And caught up with Elle, got to know her a little bit, so here is that conversation from Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Day earlier today. Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Days, junior guard Elle Evans of the Kansas Jayhawks, a transfer from North Dakota State in her first season with the Jayhawk program. And Elle, first of all, I got to ask, how are you enjoying Lawrence? What's life in Lawrence been like for you since you arrived?
Yeah, it's been great. I love it. Everyone has been obviously super welcoming, in the summer. We all kind of moved in at the same time. So it was nice that, everyone was kind of new at the same time. So we were going through all the meetings and everything together. But so far it's been great. And I think a huge part of kind of why I chose to come to KU is just being so close to home. So driving the 4 hours to go home, is amazing. It's been a huge game changer so far.
As far as the on-the-court fit for you as a player, as now you've been able to go through practices and you're getting ready for the season to begin, do you feel like you've been able to acclimate as a teammate, as a part of a playing system? Do you feel like that has gone well for you so far?
Yeah, for sure. I think that, honestly, my transition kind of coming into this playing style and into this new team has been, I'm not going to say flawless, but it's been, I feel like, better than I expected. But I also think that plays a part into it. We have a whole new team. There's so many new people and so many roles that need to be filled. I wasn't coming in and everyone already had their roles established. So I think this summer and throughout this preseason, it's been really good to kind of have each person kind of establish a little bit more about what they're going to bring for the team and kind of what they can do. But yeah, so far, I think for me personally, I found myself in a good position and knowing kind of what the coaches and my teammates need from me and when I need to step up, and kind of also too when I need to, just do whatever is needed.
Elle Evans is our guest, junior guard for the Kansas Jayhawks, joining us from Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Day. Elle, you had 2 terrific years in Fargo at North Dakota State. You were first team All-Summit League last year, Summit League Freshman of the Year, but you go from the Summit League to the Big 12, and it's a different level of competition. So as you evaluated yourself as a player, making the transition from Summit League basketball to Big 12 basketball, what do you feel like you need to improve, and what steps have you taken to maybe already make some of those improvements to make sure you're an impact player at this level as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think probably one of the biggest things for me personally is just the physicality of the game. Obviously, in the Big 12, you're playing bigger, stronger, faster athletes. So just knowing that and kind of working in the offseason, kind of building some muscle, but also just deepening my bag, and what I can bring to the table, especially on the offensive end. Kind of not just being a three-point shooter, but also kind of getting more of a consistent mid-range game, being able to pull up and kind of do those things, kind of pull up over defenders and stuff like that. But also just being a versatile 3-level scorer, I think will help me in this league, because obviously, like I said, the stronger, bigger, faster athletes that I haven't really played against before is going to be a change for me. And I think through practices, I've made some improvements, but it'll be good to see and kind of go against some new faces this year too, to kind of just see kind of how that change has occurred. And yeah, we're ready.
You have mentioned this is a very new roster for Coach Brandon Schneider. A lot of players like you transferring in this season. One player, though, that is not a new face to KU fans is Samaya Nichols, who was first team All Big 12 as a freshman last year. What has it been like to play with her? What does she bring to the table that makes her so exceptional as a teammate?
Samaya brings so much, and kind of pretty much everything that you want a leader, a point guard, to bring to the table. She's a voice for everyone on and off the floor. I think one of the biggest things, though, is she's a great leader by example. So just kind of coming in, seeing her do certain reps, and just being able to base kind of certain stuff off her. We're late clock, we need a bucket, we know who we're going to give the ball to. So just kind of having that faith in someone like Shamaya is huge for us. And, fully credit to her being so young, considered still an underclassman, still having that big of a leadership role in this team, I think is huge. And, she's a huge part of our program. And she's one of the big reasons also too, kind of why I came here, just playing with a super smart point guard like her. I mean, who wouldn't want to play with someone like that? So yeah, Samaya's great. And, she's, I will say, exceeded my expectations, kind of what everyone said throughout the portal and everything. But yeah, I can't wait to get on the court with her this year.
With a roster with so many new faces on it, obviously building team chemistry is important on the court, but off the court as well. What kinds of things have you enjoyed as far as bonding with your teammates and things that you guys have been able to do together to try and build that as the season approaches?
Yeah, no, building team chemistry off the floor, we know is a huge thing. So, we do team gatherings, we cook together, we go to the movies together. We did a team retreat probably like a month ago. We spent the weekend kind of at a lake and did some team building stuff. But yeah, we know that building team chemistry leads to success on the floor as well. So, we're aware of that, and, it's nice kind of going to practice each day, knowing, your best friends are going to be there. It's a familiar, it's like a bit one big family. And, I feel like we all take pride in that. And it's been good.
Elle Evans, junior guard for Kansas Jayhawk basketball, joining us from Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Day. All right, 2 more questions for you, Elle. First things first, you are from Edwardsville, Illinois. For those of us who have never been, describe your hometown and what do you love most about it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my hometown is probably, I'd say, a little under 30,000 people. So for me, I feel like that's a decent size, but I don't really know. Some people would describe it as huge. Some people would describe it as a pretty small town. But I love kind of like the small town feel of it. Everyone knows, I don't want to say everyone knows everyone, but everyone has, a good understanding of a lot of the families. And, it's a very family-based town. So there's generations and generations throughout. But also it's home to SIUE. So it is kind of a college town, which gives kind of a different look to it. But yeah, we're right outside the St. Louis area, which is nice because we're able to go over there, go shopping, go to the Cardinals games, do that fun stuff. But yeah, I love my hometown.
And last one for you, Elle. If you were entering a 3-on-3 basketball tournament and you could choose any 2 players from basketball history as your teammates, who are you running with in a 3-on-3?
Oh, goodness. Okay. I'm going to have to go with Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier. I'm a big Fee fan right now.
Yeah, she was unbelievable in those finals, wasn't she?
Oh, my goodness. She was insane. And, she's always been, but, just these past couple months or whatever, she's really, really flourished. And I love to see that because, she's from St. Louis too. So not exactly my hometown, but from the same general area, which is cool. So, yeah.
St. Louis always rides for St. Louis.
Yes.
I understand how that works. So totally understand where you're coming from. Elle Evans, junior guard, new member of the Kansas women's basketball team, joining us from Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Day. Elle, a pleasure to getting to know you a little bit, and look forward to seeing you out on the floor with the Jayhawks starting very soon for this 2024-25 season. Thanks so much for the time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That's Elle Evans. We got to take a break. Come back and wrap up 580 Sports Talk next. for a final word here on 580 Sports Talk. Let's make it snappy, gentlemen. Spencer, start us.
Yeah, food great tonight. Food great. Come out.
Shout out to the burger stand.
Shout out.
We love it. We're going to miss it.
Yes. I've only had it twice now, but I'm going to miss it.
Yeah, but shout out to the burger stand. That begins my final word. Also, man, the Chiefs need a wide receiver. If Cooper Kupp is out there, you've got to at least make a competitive offer. I know he's been banged up. I know he's owed a ton of money over the next few years. Who cares? You've got a chance to go win another Super Bowl with just a little help. Go take the big swing. Why not?
My final word is that if the NFL insists on maintaining 7 playoff teams in the AFC, I am going to request financial compensation from Roger Goodell and the league for making me watch a super wild card weekend that could potentially involve the Indianapolis Colts or the Denver Broncos. Like, you look at those teams, they're in playoff spots right now, but like, who's going to catch them? Cincinnati, perhaps, but like, who else? Like, it is a really grim list of teams competing for the wild card spots. Top 4 seeds in the AFC, though, are really, really good. I know Baltimore looked great last night, beating Tampa Bay, but over the long haul, I'd still make the Chiefs the best team in the AFC and still make the 2-time defending champs the favorite, especially if they can go address the wide receiver position. That's going to do it from here. One last thank you to the Burger Stand and the Brookwood Shopping Center for having us out tonight. We're back from 3 to 6. I'll be at Big 12 Men's Basketball Media Day tomorrow, so look for lots of content from that. Jerome Tang, Bill Self, KU and K-State players. That's coming up tomorrow from 3 to 6. For Spencer and Brendan and for Nick Bowers, I'm Dan Lucero saying good night.